Blackline Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week, and boy, am I happy to see you guys. I have a great show lined up for you today. It was like already going to be a banger, and then Candace did what Candace does and calls out the cronies at TPUSA, which I was already going to do. I'm surprised that, and maybe that's why she was late coming on. I know also they were determining whether or not to share more things that she has waiting, but she's doing such a good job exercising patience, letting them get themselves into their own little holes that they dig themselves into, and then releasing the receipts after they do that. So I like the way she does it. So it's so much better for her and for all of us. But welcome to another episode of the Blackline Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McCann, and we are gonna have a good show for you today. All right, couple things. Yeah, lighting looks good. Hopefully audio and video is bueno. Yes, it looks great. All righty. Cool beans. Thank you, brother-in-law. Thank you, wifey. Love you guys. All right. Well, before we get started, can you guys do me a favor, please? On your way in, can you please hit the like and the subscribe? It's the best way to help support this channel. It's a free way, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Well, like I said, I already had everything lined up, ready to go, but adding in some clips from Candace is actually just going to build on what I was already going to do. Because I was going to point out Graham Allen. He did a show, of course, yesterday and then again today. We didn't get to the part yesterday where him and his little sheepdog, Todd or whatever his name is, was trying to say that Candace lied when she said months ago that Charlie had a Catholic burial. That doesn't mean Candace never said she knows where he was buried. She just was given information that Charlie Kirk had a Catholic mass burial. That's all she said. And so Graham Allen and his little henchmen, just like Andrew Kolvet and Blake Neff, always think they're going to come out with some gotcha. And it's like, I don't know if they're this stupid. I think they're that stupid. I think they are that stupid, because the other option, no, I don't know what the other option is. I don't know that there is another option. I think it is that they're that stupid. So let's get into it, guys. Here we go. Oh, and we got to start out here because Tim Pool, likewise, thinks he's going to get a gotcha. Oh, let me put myself big up again. My brother-in-law wants to make sure when I'm talking, I got to do this so that he can help cut clips later. All right, listen. These people don't even do their investigation into what is our theories, right? Like Blake Neff, I guess, is like a really big fan of the Candace Owens show. But if he's the one relaying the information back to Andrew Kolvet, he's doing a really bad job of it. Okay? Because when you know the different theories out there, whether that be the exploding pendant, the 30-06, a different caliber gun from somewhere else inside of the audience down in the amphitheater, fake death, or where I'm at with things is the exploding mic. You should know the other theories as well as you know your own. Okay? Because only then, number one, can you make a fully informed decision as to which one should you believe. And I've done that. Okay? And it allows you to see the weaknesses in your own possible theory as well as the weaknesses in all the others. Blake Neff and Andrew Kolvet want none of that. And Tim Pool and Paramount Tactical and Lisa Knows. Because they get out there on social media, they get out there on their own platforms, and they attempt to tell us what we think and believe our theory is, and then they try to destroy it, kind of like a straw man, but they're really, really bad at that. Either they're that stupid or they're just so dishonest that they can't actually, debunk our theory by telling it accurately. They have to retell it inaccurately and then destroy that, hence the straw man. So Tim Pool, and they get so excited, like they're not exercising patience at all. Candace Owens has a show that airs, and they just can't wait to start tweeting, attacking what she says. Gotcha. We gotcha. And then it posts, and all of us with brains that watch Candace and pretty much know what the theories are go, yeah, no. She wasn't claiming by playing the video yesterday that the person on the roof had a rifle at all and shot a bullet at Charlie at all. Based on the video alone, we don't see a rifle at all. And remember from the preliminary hearing, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Bagley, the guy that was on top of the Hall of Flags that told two different stories. One that he told on the stand during the prelim, one that he gave his initial testimony that was written in early court documents like the probable cause statement, that he looked over the crowd, saw there's the shooting perch and ran right over there. Well, no, he contradicted himself inside of the courtroom. Well, these individuals can't even explain, and I totally lost my train of thought right there. Dang it. I was like, oh, it better come back. Tim Pool. Hopefully this is it, but I'll have to watch on the replay to see if I even got it back. The person on the roof wasn't shooting anything. The person on the roof didn't even have a rifle. That's right. Officer Bagley. There we go. Retrace my steps. Officer Bagley, while on the stand and when cross-examined by Catherine Nestor, said, oh, yeah, you see the rifle in his hand. And she's like, rewind, please. Excuse me? You see a rifle? And he's like, well, you see something that's in the shape and, it's long, and he starts like doing this with his hands, it's like long and it's like firm and it's long and it's like a rifle. And she's like, you see that under the blanket or towel? And then he's like, well, you can't tell if it's a blanket or towel. And she's like, okay, you can't tell what's on top of the thing that you're saying you can tell what's under the thing. Make that make sense. Yeah. I can't tell that it's a blanket or a towel, but I can for sure tell you that's a rifle under there. Holy smokes. So there's no rifle under there, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't pull anything out of his pants. Today, Matthew Tardio, Blake Neff, and Andrew Kolvet lie. Once again. Just like they did Benny Johnson, Graham Allen, Brandon Tatum, Andrew Kolvet, Blake Neff on that Friday of the last day of the prelim when they got their marching orders to be sent out to disinform all of us, the public. That's the level of contempt they have for all of us. We don't deserve the truth. You ever seen that, A Few Good Men? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. So we're going to give you a bunch of lies. So they sit up there today and say, oh, whoa. She had the video? Oh, no. How are we going to spin this? That ruins everything. That totally makes us look really bad. I agree. It does. So I'll play in a little bit and we'll get to that. They start to then say, well, that's not the video. There's another video, a different angled video that shows all the things that this video doesn't show. And that video is in higher quality. I kid you not. And then on top of that, they double down and say, see that video she shared? I can tell that was compressed or that was a screen record. So that's not even the original quality that was shown in the courtroom. Not making this stuff up. They're shifting the goalpost every single time Candace proves that they lie. And that has been the pattern from the beginning. From the beginning, when she said that Charlie Kirk was converting to Catholicism, when Charlie Kirk was leaving the pro-Israel cause, when Charlie Kirk was in fear for his life, she would say the statement, knowing she had the evidence, wait for them to freak out and call her a liar, and then release the facts, receipts. And then they come after the receipts and say, no, hold up. That's not what it is. And they just conveniently shift the goalpost a little further. That's not honest. That's not what Charlie ever did, would do. We know that Andrew Kolvet has no issue lying. We know that Charlie did have an issue with Andrew and anyone else on his team lying. Andrew came to him one day and said, you know that thing that's going on, that it's kind of not going away? I can just lie and it just sweep it away. Charlie says, nope, that's not how I do things here. As long as you're here, that's not how we do things. You're not doing that. There's a lot of people out here in this space claiming to fight for truth for Charlie. For me, Charlie had so much experience in this arena. He had done it since he was extremely young, considering, like 15. Obviously, he didn't do the show until years later, but he was a social media presence. He had been on camera for a long time. In my opinion, he was honest, ethical, he had integrity, genuine, he was authentic. If I were to look to someone in this space and want to, mirror or use as a guiding direction of what to do and what not to do while I navigate this space for the first time, starting in January, having no prior experience doing any of this, it definitely has helped me, having watched Charlie for a very long time. And there's nothing wrong with emulating how Charlie navigated this whole arena. A lot of people out here aren't doing that. Not everyone has to. I get that. But you should not only, trust the words someone is saying, you should be able to trust the person saying them. That means they should be consistent, day in, day out. How do they speak? How do they speak about others? How do they speak off camera? How do people talk about them off camera? What is their reputation around? Charlie had an amazing reputation. It was even hard for people that hated him to put things on him. They had to make things up. So anyway, I digress. Let's freaking do this. Starting out with Tim Pool, making things up, saying that, Candace can't get her story straight. They got their marching orders. Graham Allen's doing the same thing. Oh, she lied. She can't figure it out. She said one thing. Now she's saying another thing. Is he buried? Is he not buried? She never said he was buried. Just like she never said that the dude on the roof shot anything, Tim. These are the guys that have massive platforms that are being pushed onto all of us as figures to listen to and watch, to trust, to believe. That's why more people need to invest time and support for small channels that genuinely are just them. I'm not the only one. There's plenty of others out there too. But these big platforms, just be aware. They have an axe to grind, a narrative to push, and an angle to get to. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
The state themes are, he just presents state themes. Believe the deep state. Well, he apparently did not comprehend the assignment at all because he rushed in to rescue the narrative after our video was shared with the exact wrong conclusion. It was kind of incredible. A couple people did this, just had no idea, could not comprehend what we were sharing. Effectively, we were saying this person was a decoy and never fired a shot. And Tim Pool tweeted this in response to Alex Jones. He said, "None of that is true. It's just conjecture. Surprisingly, this serves as a counter to the exploding mic claims, though." Nope, Tim Pool. Nope. That's not what happened here. Actually, this now makes people look even deeper into the exploding mic claims. Because what we did was we ruled out that the person on the roof took a shot. That's what Alex Jones was saying. Like, this is crazy.
All right. And so I also think that people twist Candace, right? Yesterday, when she showed the person on the roof and the thing unfolding, she said, whether it looked like, a rifle unfolding, referencing the fold AR. To me, so there are these very heavy duty style blankets that you can use that are stiff, right? And you can like fold them like not in half, but like one side and then it's like thin like this. And then you can fold it up. Well, it looks like when they unfold it, it's just like that it looks like some sort of tarp that was folded and then folded in half. And then he gets out there and he just like unfolds it. She never said that it was a rifle. She actually was pointing out that there was no gun on the roof. Okay. No shot taken on the roof, which would point to the exploding mic theory. And I was talking about this. Oh, we'll get to this when we talk about the autopsy, because there's a lot in there that I really want to talk about. And it really had my head going because that just dropped today. And yeah, we'll get to it. All right, let's go.
A bunch of people were messaging us, making it very clear this is not possible. You would have seen the gravel kick up if he had shot a 30-06, if he had shot that gun. Here's what would have happened. So we're saying this was another decoy, a person that was told to be on that rooftop, to get on there and to get off. And most people don't even see a gun. I would like to stress that.
No gun.
We have seen no evidence that there was even a gun on the rooftop. Even our source, the person who recorded, in that recording, he doesn't say or show a gun. So we have no evidence. We are trusting that that person had a gun.
That's true. In the recording, he doesn't say that anything about a gun in the recording. It's only in the private conversation that he had with Candace where he references what looks to be a smaller, shorter, rifle, like a tactical AR or something like that. But from that distance, looking through the camera, you tell me this, when he's holding the camera and he's looking through the camera and he's pointing at the camera on this side of the phone, the screen, he's now not even having as good of an eyesight as he would just with his eyes. He's looking at the screen. The person on the roof is not only set back from the edge pointing towards Charlie, he's set back from the edge closest to the gentleman recording it. So all you see is a silhouette of like a head, shoulders, back, and then legs, and then it disappears. From all of the video evidence shown to us, over the last 10 months from the roof, like the very first video where they showed us just the person already in a dead sprint at like 12:29 and something seconds after the big bang. And then he jumps off. Nothing in his hands but a blanket, towel, tarp, and the backpack on his back. The video of the video that was shot from inside of the Hall of Flags that came out right away, which is facing the corner of the LoSee Center right after the Big Bang. You see the silhouette of someone in a dead sprint across the screen towards that corner of the LoSee Center where the individual eventually jumps off. You don't see anything in his hands that looks to be a rifle. Obviously, it's also far and it's with a phone and it's poor quality. But you still don't see it there. Then in the prelim and then in the video showed to us yesterday, all the footage that we've seen that they held away from us until, the prelim and yesterday, don't see anything that you can definitively say is a rifle. You just don't. That thing that unfolds, and no clue what that is. But in my opinion, it's surely not a Mauser 98. And from what I've seen about the fold ARs, that's not a fold AR. That's not how it is. And it looks a bit bigger and longer and a little bit more flimsy. It kind of just like blunk. There is no gun on the roof. I think, like Candace, that person was simply there to be caught on camera. The person wearing the Eagle Boy outfit was caught going up, under the tunnel, up the stairs. We still don't even know if that is who's on the roof. Because remember, the guy that recorded the video from the side said that dude was in tactical gear with a tactical helmet doing tactical moves. Okay. The person that walked under the staircase and up the stairs, Eagle Boy, is wearing a freaking black long sleeve shirt with an eagle and a flag on it, jeans, Chuck Taylors, a hat, a backpack, and glasses. Not tactical gear. So we don't even know for sure that that's the same person. Somebody sent me I appreciate you sending me the photos yesterday of the LoSee Center video jumping off the roof. It is my opinion, I've watched it many times, that is the person's shadow casting on the corner of the LoSee Center. It's not there after he jumps. That's my opinion, okay? I don't think that he drops anything. As he gets closer to the corner of the building and he bends over to lower himself down, his upper body and arms will then cast a shadow right there on the corner of the LoSee Center roof. But it's also really, really bad quality because it's like a zoomed in video that was already a bad quality video. And the more you zoom in, the more pixelated it gets and the less you can see definitively where objects are, where they begin, what they are, what they look like. So just from what I saw, it's just his shadow cast on the corner. Plus he has his jacket and it's like flimsy flopping around and he bends over to lower himself down. That's my opinion. That's what I think that is. Okay. Back to the point. No rifle on the roof. All right. All right. Let's continue.
By never seeing one. I do want to say, of course, we have to mention Paramount Not So Tactical because he is never to be excluded from idiocy.
Of course.
He chimed in. This is how he was going to rescue the narrative with a photo of a baby learning to crawl. See?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, that military tactic, this proves it's so easy to do. Even a baby could do it. It's like a new take on the Geico commercials. So easy, a baby can do it. He actually shared this. He shared a baby, and that's proof that the person was not trained or tactical, that that's just your normal human instinct or whatever. Baby could be a military man. Maybe it was a baby on the rooftop. Absolutely absurd and hilarious online. But I do want to draw your attention to Blake Neff's response because this is later going to be crucial. You know me, always playing a game with these people. Blake Neff was also angry that Alex Jones tweeted and said, we're done with this narrative. The LoSee Center rooftop narrative effectively has just been obliterated. And Blake Neff responded to him and said, there are a lot of errors and distortions in this post, Alex. First of all, saying that this footage is, quote, the court will not let the public see, leaves out that it is the defense that demanded that it be kept from the public on the grounds that would prejudice Tyler. Prosecutors repeatedly fought to conceal nothing during the preliminary hearing. He's misrepresenting that. The rifle is not pulled from his pants in this video because there is another rooftop video from another angle that captures that moment. That's right.
Yeah. So let's go here.
They're doing a great job. We've had Colin on the show recently, and you guys apparently responded in a big way. He's an impressive guy and a really trustworthy guy, so please do check him out. You got a 10-ounce silver bar they'll give you as a free gift, which is beautiful. We had one in the studio just recently. Noble Gold. Check that out on YouTube and other places. Matt, welcome back to the show. I'm grateful that you made some time for us today. I wanted to get...
There is a reason why these individuals, meaning Andrew Kolvet and Blake Neff, can only find, in my opinion, I've only seen Matt Tardio. He is, Matt Tardio and Gary Not So Tactical. All right. Those are the two prior military guys that are out here for TPUSA, shilling and lying and grifting for them, telling everyone that it's a 30-06 and that's totally, consistent with what we saw in the video. If they were consistent, find more people that think what you think. They don't. There's way more on our side. And one of the best, Rob O'Neill. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, and Graham, but I mean, I don't count Graham, dude. Okay. So the three of them, but they bring him back on every chance they get as some sort of authority on anything that has to do with explosives, ballistics, anything that Candace talks about, John Bray's theory. When we talked about the ballistics during the prelim, that it didn't match the base diameter of a 30-06 round. They get this guy out there, his dog and pony show, and he gets up there and just is really bad at debunking her. He just goes, no, she's just wrong. That's the best he could do. All right, but here we go.
Into this because if you're at all plugged in on social media, you saw that our friend over there, Candace, released a video that it seems to be at least connected or a version of or related to, in some ways, I believe it was Exhibit 11 that the judge basically didn't allow to be seen by the news media during the preliminary hearing, but was shown privately in court. It could be that video. It could be a separate video. It could have been a recording of a video. We're not sure exactly, but it shows somebody I believe, Tyler Robinson. At least that's what the state's position is on the rooftop. And there's a bunch of claims being made that this person was doing a lateral army crawl, that he jumped off a 12 to 4 foot roof and he had to be trained because of that. You actually know this stuff inside and out. You know what it means to be trained professionally, all of these things. We'll play the video in just a second, but what was your initial reaction seeing this footage?
She's wrong. Again, she's wrong. I don't know how else to claim that. She's wrong. She's wrong saying that, I forget what she said. Basically, it blown his shoulder out shooting it, or we should have seen the gunshot go off. She's wrong, personally, in my opinion, stating that this is, the lower quality video ever, and that the rumors going around of it being a high quality video, therefore everybody is lying. There's very clear signs that the video was compressed, or it was a screen recording, or a combination of both before it ended up getting sent to her. What did you call it? A lateral crawl? There's no such thing, as far as I know. Going through basic military training in the infantry, lateral crawl is not a thing. Low crawl, high crawl, 3 to 5 second rush. That's what taught when I came in 2003. What's still being taught to this day, to the best of my knowledge. When I went through Ranger School, lateral crawl wasn't a thing. I don't remember being taught lateral crawl. None of my buddies happen to remember either. When I was going through Special Forces training and selection, none of that was taught there either. No lateral crawl. When I was going through SEER school, level C, no lateral crawl I remember being taught in that case. And I could keep going through a multitude of different courses I've actually gone through, and no lateral crawl. Going through the sniper course, no lateral crawl.
Really?
It's just not a thing.
It's
also,
not a
falling
thing?
10 feet doesn't take specialized military training.
He didn't fall 10 feet. Hold on. I mean, okay, so it's not a thing. It's not a thing. Just remember that. He was never taught it. It's not an actual thing. All right, keep that in mind. Let's see.
Alongside this person on the rooftop. Let's bring in that side-by-side clip. Here we go. That general act.
Okay, see that little red thing on the tip? They're training. I'm pretty sure that's a Ranger sticker on the back. These look like Army fatigues. Okay. Pretty sure this might be at Ranger Battalion School. I was not in the Army, but this isn't a Marine Corps. We don't have hats like that. We don't have fatigues like this. But when you do have this little red thing on the tip, you are training. Okay. Yeah, you're doing like practice combative maneuvers. All right. This guy is teaching students the proper way to do a medium low lateral crawl. Okay. He is. That's what this is.
Right there is known as a lateral crawl.
Bam.
Now, you may have noted if you're just looking at your eyes.
So just keep that in mind. This guy wants to put himself out there as an authority, as someone that you should trust. He's the expert. Just remember, Fauci just got on the stand today and pled the fifth, even when asked, what color tie are you wearing today? What color is the carpet in front of you? Do you know what day it is? He pled the fifth. That person back in 2019 and all through the, what do we call it? The plandemic, said you can trust all of us with D's and R's and lab coats. And, we are the official experts on this matter. Trust the science. Trust us. We're the experts. Okay. That's what he's doing. And he's doing it here in the Charlie Kirk assassination, Tyler Robinson investigation. Trust him as he lies.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot to go over here. But, if we're led to believe that she's been sitting on this clip since October, my first question was, well, this obviously shows somebody on a rooftop and it's, getting in the prone position. And yet we've been, so does this debunk her own exploding mic theories? Like, I'm not sure what this proves.
You cannot make this up. Tim Pool's post came before this. All right. All of the little henchmen got their little marching orders sent out to their different platforms to say the same thing. This is what I mean. They can't even do their job well. Like, at least watch her show and then just pick it apart. If you could, you can't. So you have to reframe what she said and what she meant to then make it seem like she's just a liar, that she's contradicting herself. She's not. I've been along for the ride. I'm watching all of her and all of y'all. Okay. What that video, in my opinion, at least shows evidence of, if not proves, is that the person on the roof had no rifle in hand. Therefore, no Mauser for sure, no 30-06 round, no 30 caliber round, no rifle fired, no bullet from the LoSee Center. Tyler Robinson did not fire anything. I don't even think he's on the roof anyway. It's someone else. But that Charlie Kirk was not killed by a bullet. And I'll get to that when we get to the autopsy. Let me catch up on these. I only got two. Cool. What up, Jeffrey McDowell? Go Buckeyes. I'm a Sooner. It's all good. We can't all be perfect. I still like you, though. All right. Big country established no line of sight. Wrong part of the roof. It was just another decoy. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that specific episode of his. But even if there was a line of sight, I don't know that that would even complicate this at all. All the videos of the dude on the roof show no weapon, no rifle. And though it's degraded footage, not intentionally, just by the nature of the surveillance footage not being really good quality and then having to zoom in on it, it depreciates the quality of the video. Because you don't increase the pixels stays the same. You're just closer to it now, which I think intensifies the bad quality. You do not see any kind of object that even resembles a rifle whether it's a shorter, weapon system like an AR, or a longer rifle like a Mauser. You don't see anything like a muzzle flash. You don't see any recoil. You don't see any disturbance in the ground around it. Not that you probably would see the disturbance of the gravel and stuff by the muzzle flash of the gun going off, but you should at least discern some movement at the moment of the shot. You would see, okay? It may not, to a trained person or even someone that has shot a rifle, no, you might not get banged in the eye. You would know to keep your distance far enough away from the scope. You might even have a shirt that has a shoulder pad on it if you're using a higher, like a 30 caliber round rifle for a little cushion, or you just know how to take it that it's not going to like destroy your shoulder. But she was making a point that if it was a Mauser and a 30 caliber round, we would see something in the video, even if it's just a little bit. And you see nothing of that sort. He does not move when on the ground after he unfolds what I think is like a tarp or something. Because when he gets up to run, he would have had to grab the rifle and the tarp. He just has one thing in his hand. Okay. And he did it so fast, right? If the tarp was put down first and then the rifle was splayed on top of it and we didn't see that for some reason, I don't know. He would have to grab the rifle, then grab the tarp, put the tarp over the rifle, and then carry it like Mr. Bagley said it was. Like, oh, it's under the tarp. No, he's in a dead freaking sprint like that. Okay. And then when he gets to the corner of the roof, do you know how hard it would be to hold a rifle under a blanket, towel, or tarp with one hand as he lowers himself with one hand? And by the way, somebody went to UVU and showed just how big that roof area is. All right. I'm just going to mute it just so we can see. Well, you shouldn't have turned it because it doesn't turn for all of us. I didn't know it turned, but it's a big roof. All right. I mean, it's a big drop. Dang it. Can you turn it back? Can you turn it back? All right. You can't. I'm just going to go right there. No, wait, right there. All right. If she's a modest 5'7", 5'8", okay, double that. That's at least 11 something, maybe 12 about right here. That's another, I don't know, 4 feet, 16 something feet, right? He lowers himself with one hand while holding a rifle, while holding a tarp on top of it, and drops down and is able to absorb the drop without falling over and blowing out his knees or his ankles. I agree that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like special forces, right? But you would have to have some sort of athleticism, some sort of physical athletic physique, and at least some sort of training to be able to do that and land it, stick the landing like a freaking gymnast, and then, scamper off across the street in the direction which then would lead whoever watches the surveillance video later, like, aha, Sherlock Holmes. Oh, Watson, I think it's over yonder. That's where we should look for the rifle. He crosses the street. Let's go look in the woods. What do you know? They don't find it until they do, after the FBI shows up.
Other than,
Again,
is there a there? I don't.
There's a there.
But besides the laws of physics and introducing the fourth dimension.
Oh, by the way, I skipped the beginning because they didn't play this till way later. The reason why Andrew Kolvet is wearing a hat, I don't know where it is in the beginning because I had to watch this whole thing. It was so painful. But in the very beginning, Blake is like, dang, dude, 2 days with a hat? What's going on? And Andrew's like, yeah, I had a procedure. So he had some sort of procedure on his head that you'd be able to tell if he wasn't wearing his hat. He either put the Elon Musk computer chip in his brain and he's totally gone full crazy, or some sort of plugs, maybe because he's like, I'm so glad I have a full head of hair. And then he has a dig at Blake. Okay, maybe at the end of this, I'll replay that. I'll try to find it because it's pretty funny. That's why Andrew's wearing a hat. So he either got a computer chip inserted into his brain because he has such low processing power as is, now he can function like most of us do with high IQs. He broke even now. He's just caught up to us. Or he looks across at Blake every day and goes, never. That will never happen to me. I agree, bro. Not everyone can pull off a shaved head. I'm not bald, by the way. This is a choice. I shave my head, okay? Anyway, not everyone could pull it off. Blake doesn't pull it off. You sure as heck wouldn't pull it off. Joe Rogan pulls it off. I think I pull it off. But Andrew's so afraid. He had some sort of procedure to his head that he couldn't even let us see it. He's got to wear hats. I guess we might see what it might have been when he finally reveals it and comes back to the show, full head of hair, computer chip implanted, and the hat is gone.
That we talked about with the exploding mic, that all of those other things that she's wrong about on that. She said it looked to her like he's unfolding a rifle. I mean, okay, so Candace, which is it? Did he have a rifle? Did he not? Because now you're saying he has a rifle on the roof, and he's
no. She didn't say he has a rifle. She said he doesn't have a rifle, but it looks like it might be unfolding something like a rifle. She's just pointing it out.
In direct line of fire to where it would have impacted Charlie in the exact location in which it's shown. The exploding mic, I mean, we've talked about this. I don't even know if I went over this last time or not. But even half a gram of petin at the size that it is would explode into about 400 cubic inches, right? It would detonate into a gas state, instant change from solid to a gas to about 400 cubic inches. That microphone would be obliterated. There'd be a hole in his shirt.
Do you guys remember? So John Bray, has done extensive research on this. Stu Peters did a great job on an X Space the other day, destroying Jordan Henshaw, which is one of the main proponents of squib theory and fake death. And Candace showed that one video of a shape charge put on top of a bulletproof glass. And what to me, it looks like it's a directional explosion. It's, directing the energy in one direction. Matt Tardio would have you believe that it's still, even though it's a shape charge, that it's going to explode in a 360 radial, as it expands out, like a normal explosion. It's like, okay, if it's a normal explosion, like, why is it a shape charge then? Like, why do they make shape charges if they still just explode in all 360 degrees? So, I mean, once again, don't trust the people that come on this show, like the lawyer Andrea Burkhart, that has no questions about anything, or Matt Tardio. Okay. Let me read these. I forgot to get to these. Man, USAF, U.S. Air Force. Right on, man. I think, right? Are you prior U.S. Air Force? Right. Right on. I did time at Goodfellow Air Force Base in San Angelo, Texas. It's where I went to the aircraft rescue firefighting school out there. All right. Hi, Matt. Does it look like it could be the Tough Force foldable scabbard that he unfolds to make it look like a pew-pew was brought on the roof? And so that's actually a very good point. Yes, I do think it could be the Tough Force foldable scabbard, or just like a very thick, heavy kind of tarp, something that they would know those on UVU, those that were planning this event, the Patsy, the fake assassination, or the assassination, but the fake person on the roof, the decoy, and that this video was going to be pivotal to framing Tyler Robinson. They would know the quality of it, right? We know that Israel has the technology to, in real time, tap into surveillance footage and change it in real time without leaving any footprints. Like, no one would know. Even when they would do a diagnostic after the fact, you wouldn't be able to tell. They would know the quality of that surveillance footage and know that all they would need to do is have either a dark or black object that he flops open to make it look like an object that could be explained as a rifle, right? And so, yeah, it could be the Tough Force foldable scabbard or a thick, like tarp that he unfolds to lay down on top of the rocks so that it can grab it when he runs. And then they can claim, because also whatever it is that he folds down is the thing that they're able to point to, meaning the prosecution and those witnesses like Officer Bagley and Detective Hull. They point to this towel, tarp, blanket thing as concealing the rifle. They say that. See, you can tell there's a hard, long, solid object under the blanket, towel, tarp that is consistent with a rifle. Without the tarp, blanket, whatever, you'd be able to see what that thing is, which leads me to believe there's nothing underneath there. There's nothing underneath there. And if there is, it's not an AR, it's not a foldable AR, it's not a Mauser, there's nothing. Why bring a weapon on the roof when you're not going to shoot it, and then you have to jump off and run away in front of what will be pedestrians and civilians that have phones, record, call 911, and could, call the police and put in a tip that there's someone running down the street with a rifle? How come no calls like that exist from that location, cars on that street? Okay. That person was simply there to be caught on camera, to lay down so they could point to it and say, aha, see, pause, take a nap, look at his watch, time it perfectly, hear the big bang, get up and run. Have a blanket, towel, tarp, whatever, foldable scabbard, whatever. Jump off, run away. They can point to that video and say, see, there he is, Tyler Robinson. He's got a rifle. He goes in that direction. That's where we're going to go look. Oh, we look over here. We find it. How convenient. All right. We got Michael Sullivan, 10 joules. Thank you for the gold coin. Made you think, was he signaling with the shiny thing? No, actually. And I'll play this. I'm gonna prove to you it actually was a car. So in the background, there is a freeway there. Cars are going in both directions. And there's an individual that on X did a slow motion of the video and put circles over this red circle over a car coming into view. And it actually, the shine happens like 3 times. And then like right on the 4th time, it's right where we see it next to the person's shoulder as they're doing that low lateral crawl. It's actually it's the reflection of the sun off that car's windshield. Okay. And I'll show you that in a second. So can we figure out who's in his line of sight to signal or who can see from Charlie's tent? It's not a signal. I'm going to show you. I'll show you right now, actually. Okay. Since we're on that. That's why I love it when you guys put things in. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. How do I make this big? Hold on. Let me mute it. Oh, no. Bet. All right. All right. And this comes to you from someone on X called Break the Echo Chamber. All right. And so you'll see the reflection. So see right there, there's one. Okay. And you'll see it there. Boom. Okay. And it's the same size. You're going to see it again right here. Boom. It's going to come over here, right here. And then it's going to be right here, right. Boom. Okay. Right through this bush. And other cars as well show it. So you see it as this is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Okay. So that's what it looks like to me. Hopefully that answers the question. All right. Now we go. Just Jessica high five. Careful. Don't take the bait. Andrew trying to change the direction of research into him from Charlie. Wait, what do you mean? You mean Candace don't take the bait or me? What do you mean? Trying to change the direction of the research. Explain. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. Let me get to this next one. G, thank you, by the way, Just Jessica, and thank you, Made You Think. Yeah. All right. We got G, Mama Poe. What did it for me was seeing something with a 90-degree angle come out from his wound. What the heck was that? Correct. So right angles don't appear naturally in nature. Okay. That's indicative of a man-made object. All right. And we'll get to that when we get to the autopsy. All right. Thank you, Toms, for the 10 joules. All right. Let's continue.
There would be clear signs of this on his chest. He'd have plastic and glass embedded in the side of his face.
No.
Not just a singular hole. That's not how shaped charges work. Newton laws of physics apply there as well, right? So we've got all of these things that go into it, but mostly that she's now claiming that it's a rifle that he's unfolding on top of the roof.
Nope.
Well, and so just a quick note on that. I did check with people inside the courtroom that day, and they're saying that this clip that was shown, and we're about to show it in just a sec, doesn't include I believe, a different angle is what I'm led to believe.
Notice his words. He said he has it from a source inside. So he should be able to say it as fact. Okay. He says, from what I believe, a different angle, possibly, maybe, perhaps. From what I was told, I think might be a different angle. Why can't he, if someone was in the courtroom and he can trust that source, and that source would say, that's not the same video. They showed a totally different video from a different angle, which is clearer and which shows all these other things that are in the original documents that came before the prelim, that weren't testified to in the prelim, which didn't appear on any of the footage that they showed in the prelim. Now we have, why wouldn't the prosecution have shown this other angle? Why wouldn't we have even heard about this other angle? Remember, there was other people on our side in the courtroom that day. They did not say that there is a third different angle video of surveillance video of the LoSee Center, which is clearer and which shows all the things that they're claiming. Nope. There was one video. Okay. And it is the one that Candace just shown. Okay.
At least, again, I didn't see it, but there is a portion where you can see him kind of roll over the railing, assemble the weapon. It's a little obscured by the railing, but that's what apparently is happening.
I didn't see it, Andrew says, but then he goes in to say that you can see it and then says, what I was told. Okay. Notice his play with words. Sly, public relations, slippery, slimy, smug, liar.
I was asking about that, Andrew, and yeah, that they have basically two angles. Guy goes over railing, and you see him doing something. As you said, it's obscured by the.
Oh, now he's just a guy. It's not Tyler Robinson. Guy goes over railing. Blake, you're slipping. Oh, Blake. It's not Tyler. Come on, man. You were so sure. You were as sure as Erica was sure on Barry Weiss. Do you believe that Tyler Robinson is a killer? Yes. Yes, I do. Why? Well, because I've seen it all. I've seen the autopsy. I've seen everything the prosecution has because I'm part of the prosecution. My lawyers are on that team. We are a team. I've seen it all. It's a mountain. It's an Everest of evidence.
Railing, but you can see he's taking some kind of action, which we can deduce is likely pulling the rifle out of his pant leg, making it ready to go. And then there's like a brief blind spot after that. And then it's the video we see the guy running across the roof, taking a prone position, and at the
guy running. You can't say it's Tyler anymore? Why can't you say it's Tyler anymore? Did Judge Graff talk to you? Did Andrew talk to you and say like, hey, dude, you're a witness. You got to tread lightly. Ooh. Can't say Tyler definitively. We can't say Tyler anymore because it's so clear that it's not Tyler definitively.
exact moment where we know the shooting occurred, second later, gets up, runs away. And people, they inject all this doubt into this because
he can't even say that the video shows the shooting occurring. He says when the video shows when we know the shooting occurred. Remember on that Friday when he said you can see the muzzle flash, you can see the recoil, you can see him kill Charlie Kirk, you can see him pull the trigger. No, not anymore. Blake has momentary onset amnesia. Doesn't remember what he did the morning of the 10th, the night of the 10th. Doesn't remember Phillips being in the car, Danny Phillips. Now he doesn't remember what he said just 3 weeks ago. But he wants you to trust him. Okay.
I think they're motivated by an ideological agenda or some sort of agenda, but we're able to assess the evidence and put together what happened here.
Well, that's another good important point, Blake, is that the timestamp is not included in this version. So let's go ahead and play the B-roll. It's about 1 minute and 17 seconds long. We'll play it up 175. So here's this figure running across the rooftop, which we obviously the state is saying is Tyler Robinson.
You know what's interesting, ladies and gentlemen? So let's see. Let me do this. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do this. Tell me if you can tell the difference of the footage. Here. Here. Okay. This is from Candace's show yesterday. This is from their show today. They would have you believe that by uploading the video, the compression, which does occur from when whatever video quality Candace had before she uploads it into her show and plays it, and we're watching it on our monitors on our end, it lost so much quality that's why it is the quality that it is when we watched it on her show. That means it would have done that again when they played a video of her video on their show the next day. That's like double times. Why is it the exact same quality? I mean, these guys contradict themselves. Like they needed to put her name in blue up here. Like, okay, it says Candace right here. Did they not see? It says Candace right here. They had to put it up here. Candace. It says Candace right there.
And here's that the staying low.
There's that car coming.
Can you pause it for a sec right there, brother? Can we pause that real quick so we can talk about that?
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. So first of all, just being on a rooftop in general, the absolute worst position to try to assassinate somebody from, because you end up silhouetting yourself.
All right. He's going to go on to say that even someone that was like a Boy Scout or someone that does paintball would even be aware of silhouetting yourself, and that the fact that he does this lateral low crawl, the fact that he does a full low crawl and then in the prone position up to the corner of the roof is not an indicator that he has tactical training or experience at all. He said that a 10-year-old that plays paintball would be able to do this. Though I get that if you're like a competitive airsofter or even just a, recreational one and you do it regularly, recreational or, competitive paintballer. Yeah, you would know what and how to do. But could you do that when you know you're being recorded on campus and you know that you're supposed to be what is going to be pointed at as the shooter and going to the position at what they're saying is someone shooting him? They're saying this is someone with no training doing this for the first time ever. You know, nerves of steel, right? Knowing that he's about to take someone's life, a forever changing event that will surely either end up with him dead or in prison. And that you would need no training to be able to hold your bearing and composure and your wits about you to do every single part of this maneuver correct. That a 10-year-old paintballer on the weekend could do this. Yep. Trust this guy, though. You should just trust him.
We can only assume he's crawling. And essentially, this is what we see up until the point that, assuming, again, the footage does not include the timestamp, but we know from the footage that was showed in court, not to the media.
We don't need the timestamp. You know why? Because the moment he gets up to run, you would just be able to deduce, like Blake Neff, that the second before that is when the big bang went off. So just be paying attention. And right before he runs, that's the moment at 12:23 and 29 seconds.
That the timestamp lines up approximately with when Charlie was, not approximately, exactly when Charlie was shot.
He had to correct himself. Yeah, approximately. No, exactly. No, it has to be exactly, because if he shot him and that's the time that Charlie, got hit, it has to be exactly. It can't be approximately. Correct. Also, notice that now they're saying the timestamp is crucial, not the video. Like they said 3 weeks ago, he said the video alone shows what they say is Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie Kirk. They slowly, quickly, over the next days and weeks, walked that back to, well, actually, what it shows is you see the timestamp. We know when Charlie was hit, and you can watch the time. And right before he gets up to run, that's the time when Charlie was hit, and then he gets up and run. So you can deduce that that's when he took the shot. You can't see him take the shot, but clearly, if he gets up and runs right after that, obviously, then right before that is when he took the shot. It's ridiculous.
Which was 12:23:28 on September 10th, Mountain Time. So here he is laying there. And I also want to, there's a bunch of people that says you can't see his face, you can't see the shot or whatever.
Can't.
But to your other point, it looks like a screen recording, a compressed video. There is color distortion that you've pointed out on your social media.
Up. So it would have been right there. Notice that he gets up. I don't see anything in his left hand, right? His left hand is by his side, all right? And he's grabbing something, what looks to be with his right arm. And
there he gets.
Because it's like hanging down. Okay, it's hanging down here.
So the shot happens. He gets up.
And it's totally acting like a
runs back. And then I think it just started.
Yeah, and they played the video over. Let's see if they skip. Yeah, they skip.
We watched the preliminary hearing. We have footage of a person where you can see them far more up close. You can see the person limping with something likely down their pants leg. And we see the person, we see a car arriving that matches Tyler.
Why won't they say his name anymore? What happened? What changed? Did they get a letter from Judge Graff? Now it's a person. The man, the guy. It's no longer Tyler Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a person. So he's like, okay, well, yes, we'll give you that. This video is really bad. But it's only bad because clearly it's been compressed or it was screen recording. And this isn't even the real video. The real video is a video that nobody's seen except for those in court, except for the ones in court that weren't on their side that said, no, there's not another video view that's clearer, that shows him take the rifle out of his pants, assemble it, and lay down where you can see him take the shot. That video does not exist. They want you to think it does. Once again, what was that neurological thing, something filling, where you fill in the blanks and they want you to connect something that's not connected. He wants you to trust him. So now he's like, okay, but don't forget. Yeah, this video sucks. The video you didn't see doesn't suck, but then we do have video that you did see that shows a guy clearly a guy, a person. Tyler Robinson? Does it show Tyler Robinson? A person. Lance Twiggs. Hey, is that your man? Can you say that? I can't say 100%. You should be able to. He was your lover, right? Like you lived together, right? No, I can't say 100% that that's Tyler. He does have those shoes. I've gone over this, ad nauseum. He's got a shirt. Not that shirt, but he has a shirt. Not that hat, but he has a hat. He does have glasses. He wears pants. Not those pants, but he's got jeans. He's just got those shoes. That's how I know it could be Tyler. You just can't make it up, you guys.
Robinson's vehicle. It's the fact that we can trace this person who's walking around the campus. They're walking towards the LoSee building right before this person who goes over the railing, who does all of this. It's every time we get one of these gotcha videos that's dropped, it's treated like it's literally the only piece of evidence in the entire case, when we know the reality is that the exact opposite, that we have DNA evidence, that we have text.
We've destroyed the DNA evidence. Other experts like that lawyer we showed yesterday, the DNA evidence is not as conclusive as they would have you believe, right? There's a minimum of 4 contributors. They combined 2 samples, the trigger guard and the trigger, and they put them together so that they could make it. They would have a higher probability of Tyler's DNA being on 2 different locations of the rifle instead of just one. And they had to combine a different part of the rifle with the trigger, because if it wasn't on the trigger and it came back that Tyler's DNA was not on the trigger, they're screwed. Okay. They had to swab different parts of the rifle, combine it with the trigger sample so that no matter what, we can say that Tyler Robinson's DNA is on those. It was a tricky, nasty way of doing business. The text messages are inconclusive. Doesn't look like any 21-year-old Gen Z wrote them, let alone Tyler Robinson. We don't have timestamps. We don't have metadata. We have conflicting eyewitness reports that puts Tyler down at the Cowboys Steakhouse between like 8:30 or 8 something to 9:45, 9:55, which means it's way too long and far of a drive for him to have been back in Orem to send the text, I think at midnight or something, saying that, he's looking at the spot. He's waiting for the cops to leave so he can retrieve his rifle. There's really not one piece of evidence they provided that is like, dang, okay, I don't know how they're going to get out of that. That's a good piece of evidence. Not one piece. Every single piece is just in question. How they got it, chain of custody. Is it authentic? Has it been authenticated? Is it really him? Who sent that text? It's just, who did he confess? No. Did his parents turn him in? No. The video of the person inside the police when supposedly Tyler Robinson surrenders, it's just the back of somebody's head with a hat and a maroon shirt. The maroon shirt doesn't even match the shirt's cut and fit of Tyler from the Dairy Queen footage. I mean, for real, these people suck at their job.
Message evidence, that we have surveillance evidence, that we have physical evidence obtained from the scene, and that all of this is what's coming together to build the case.
Confession evidence.
So keep in mind, right, that evidence that you just mentioned of him walking around shows him wearing a backpack, right? And then you see him take what Candace said was an unfolding rifle and throwing it down. I guarantee you, because after he ends up throwing it down, you see him moving into position on that bag. I guarantee you he was shooting off his backpack to study his rifle, shooting off of his backpack. And that's what he ended up throwing down and going over there. If anything, this video substantiates the other ones. And the fact that it's a lower quality compressed video, and that's the best argument they got, they're failing miserably, absolutely miserably at this.
Yeah. And to throw this image up, this is, if we have it, a lot of people, 179. So there's, all this talk about how you have to be this like trained assassin. I mean, Tyler Robinson grew up in a hunting and shooting family.
Hold on.
Right.
This is.
Hopefully, dang it. I mean, they were able to show it on the live. Ooh. Hopefully the AIs don't cut my feed. It made me nervous. Sorry. Last time I showed, maybe it's because it was a ballistic test. By the way, that photo is not even of Tyler. That's of Tyler's brother. Okay. That's not even Tyler Robinson. Let me move on to what I want to cover next. All right. I can't show the casket. I don't know how she can do certain things, and I've been dinged for it. One time when I showed the casket scene, because I was like recovering how grotesque that was, and I played it, that whole video got demonetized and got taken down and deleted. So I'm nervous to show anything with the casket and anything with the gun. But that reminds me, I think I do want to play the part where she talks about the casket, because that's something I want to discuss. So let me go right after she shows the casket. So right here.
Accused that this footage was taken in Phoenix, but it was not. And I also want to note that that is an open casket that you're seeing in Utah. Fast forwarding to September 20th at around 11 o'clock a.m., Charlie is no longer at Hanson. He is now having a Catholic funeral mass that is held at a Catholic church that Charlie regularly attends. And this is in the middle of the day. And so immediately you should be asking yourself, why the change? Why the change? The mass was not hidden from the public. Okay. It obviously was not open to the public, but it was not hidden from the public, as it occurred at the same time as mass was going on for local parishioners. They observed the hearse. Exactly what the news was reporting. They observed that. But like I said, it wasn't open to the public. So this was not something they were trying to keep super hush hush. The question that's relevant here is, why would you go from Hanson to now Catholic? Okay, this represents a total sea change in narrative. Lest we forget, there was an entire Mockingbird campaign which was launched to attack me after I publicly asserted that there were rumblings that Charlie was close to converting, that we were hoping that he would. Catholics were hoping that he would. It was a conversation that was happening even between me and Charlie, like, take the next step, take the next step. And this just set them off. It was something that was a high priority in the immediate aftermath of Charlie's assassination for Turning Point to come out and to clarify. And by clarify, I mean to shut that down. Like, this is not true. Okay. It was a high priority, so much so that their spokesperson, Andrew Kolvet, joined Alex Clark's show and took down that insinuation. And I want you to take a listen so that you remember what was said.
Was he becoming Catholic?
No.
All right. I know what they said. Yeah, he just says no, they wasn't becoming Catholic and that it was a lie. Okay. I want to read this that just came in. We are working on it. Let's see. Did I do this one yet? Thank you, Dope Lemon, for the silver star. Here we go. Okay. Just before you started, Valhalla realized that he isn't on the side of the roof the FBI claimed. From that vantage point, he couldn't have seen Charlie. Okay. I mean, I'll watch and see. It looks like that Heavy Duty Country did the same thing. I'll look into it. You can't see how close to the edge he is from this footage. It's so bad. You can't really see how far over. I've pulled up the Google Maps and Google Earth and did an aerial and zoomed in. There is a line of sight from the very corner all the way to Charlie, but you would have to be perfect because, and I'll read the rest of yours in a second. I just want to get it. Because the Sorensen building has a corner that points out that if he is too far set back, he won't have enough angle to aim his rifle down, number one, because Charlie wasn't straight across. Charlie was not just down. He was down in an amphitheater that went into the ground. He was below floor level. Okay. So the person on the roof would had to have been all the way up to the edge facing Charlie in order to get a downward slope to be able to hit that 9-degree angle to contact Charlie's neck. That could also be why they put him on a table, a chair on top of a platform to lift him up. Think about that, because then they could say he was raised, and from that angle, there was a line of sight. And know this too. I mean, we don't need to believe everything or anything that the FBI and ATF and the State Bureau of Investigations does. One of the things they do in the investigation is they're going to, based on the impressions they found, they will have to determine a line of sight with a laser pointer, right? Because they're not going to like shoot another round, right? They're going to have to try to attempt to recreate that angle from that location. They'd have to have the platform that Charlie was on with a chair. They would have had to measure up how tall Charlie was sitting and where his neck was to determine the exact downward grade of which when the bullet came in, and they can do it in reverse, right? If it came in this degree, they're going to have to do it in reverse and see if they can get that line of sight to that corner, or they'll have someone lay down on that corner and, make sure that they have line of sight. They could have done that. They could have lied, obviously. Also, from the person's video that's from the side, it looks like the person is set back this way and this way from the corner. So, it's very likely that he wouldn't have been able to get that downward angle to get the line of sight, but also that if he's far enough over this way, the Sorensen's building corner tip would be cutting off Charlie. However, I don't know how so unless they take a aerial footage of UVU from that day, they have to be able to see where the tent was exactly, not kind of, exactly where Charlie was sitting, the chair and everything. They would need a angle from that day because Charlie wasn't in the center of that menorah on the ground floor. He was over this way. All right. He wasn't in the dead center of it. He was over this way, which possibly could have given a line of sight. But once again, I haven't seen their video yet. I can go look into that and I can talk to you guys about it tomorrow. All right. Let me finish the rest of your thing, your super chat, which, by the way, Angie Smith, thank you. From that vantage point, he couldn't have seen Charlie. He tracks it on Google Maps. Oh, and also Pop's merch. That's what I was saying. Like, we're working on merch. We're trying to find good quality. And it's going to be expensive in the beginning to order it in bulk so that we can have enough to sell to everybody. So we are working on it. And one of the other ones, somebody, I think it was Renita, that said, when I said this comment the other day, screw forever, start today. I don't know sometimes that, like, when I say something, it might be something good. I liked that though. In relation to Erica saying that she will tirelessly, fight for Charlie's legacy forever or something. And I was like, screw forever, start today, Erica. Please just start today. Angie Smith. Okay. He is on the right side of the roof, not the left. So it's the actual side of the roof, not distance from edge. You can tell by church and highway signs, etc. I'm going to have to look into that. All right. And I'm nervous to pull up Google Maps right now and Google Earth. Every time I do it, it messes with the stream. However, we're now plugged into the Ethernet, like straight, we're hardwired or whatever, like Erica Kirk said she made Charlie do. So it's not through Wi-Fi, and I upgraded my internet, so that shouldn't happen. But maybe I'll try it towards the end so that I don't have to disrupt the middle of the stream if I mess it up. Thank you, Sammy Lay W, for your super chat. If you wanted to write something and it didn't let you, just write a comment in the regular chat and one of my mods will send it to me so you don't have to pay again. Oh, no, you did. Sorry. You didn't have to do that. Thank you. Diligent Denizen. Sorry, forgot the name exactly. But he was live and slowed it down multiple times. And he mentioned, and pulled up photos of a rifle case on the roof. A rifle case on the roof that unfolds like that. Now I'm not. Do you mean from like the roof footage, the LoSee Center surveillance footage? All right. I know who Diligent Denizen is. I know who Valhalla and Heavy Duty Country are. I'll look into all three of their stuff later tonight, tomorrow, and then I can get back to you guys on that. Tomorrow, though, I won't be able to cover it. Well, I don't know. Maybe. It depends on how much time we have. Tomorrow, Mitch Snow, Matthew Tuzzaroni, and Honest Ash, who's she's a big presence on X, will be on this show tomorrow at 7 p.m. So that's what's already planned for tomorrow. All right, let me continue. All right. I don't want to lose track.
Conversion happening. And even though Erica was a cradle Catholic, and they're telling the truth, by the way, we know this. Erica talks about this on podcasts. Erica very much represented herself as non-denominational. She's got tons of pastors. Everyone's saying, I'm Erica's pastor. I'm Charlie's pastor. But they wanted to shut down the idea that Charlie or Erica was Catholic. And what you should know about that is I am told that Andrew, this was pre-recorded. And throughout this conversation, you can see little cuts because Andrew was texting with Erica throughout this recording to ensure that he was okay with what he was saying and what he was sharing. So this public messaging had her stamp of approval. And again, to be clear, it was a pre-record, which took place before Charlie's Catholic funeral mass. A day later, after saying this, you moved to have a Catholic funeral mass. Does that make any sense?
No.
Just run that back. Does that make sense in your head? Either Erica or Charlie are Catholic. They just liked to go in smells and bells, but they were committed non-denominational and then evangelical for Charlie. So pardon my common sense here. I know that's not allowed. But if you had planned to bury Charlie, who was not a Catholic, according to you, in a Catholic cemetery, why would you not just have him immediately transported to a Catholic funeral home rather than having him moved from Hanson? Moving him suggests that something went wrong, okay? I've been around.
All right, so this is what I want to point out. And I was talking about this with my wife in the car. This is just me thinking out loud. The footage of her in the casket. Remember, a lot of people said that looks like a fake body. Those don't look like his real hands. They don't show any of more of him where we can deduce that that is Charlie. But they wanted you to see his body. Why? They didn't just show an empty casket. They did that before when Mikey McCoy was keeling over in distress and Andrew and Tyler and all them were loading it into the hearse. A closed casket would start a firestorm of conspiracy theories that we never see Charlie after he gets carried off the X at UVU. They would say there's no proof that Charlie's in the casket. They wanted you to believe, and also whoever shows up at the funeral, it's closed casket. They'll remember that video. They're going to see an empty, closed casket at this, the funeral mass. We know now that nobody saw it get lowered into the ground. Okay. That video is either it's disturbing either way. It's gross, disturbing either way, whether that is his body and she did that for the most insane reasons, or they wanted you to see something that looked like his body so that you would not be able to say he was cremated. Okay. They want you to be able to look at that video and go, well, no, he couldn't have been cremated. He's already been embalmed. He's already got his tux on. There's nothing else needs to be done to Charlie before he gets lowered into the ground. That's his finished state by the time he gets put in the casket. The last thing that happens, closed casket, lowered into the ground. They want you to believe that his body's in the casket. Why? Why show that video? Why be the wife and have someone film you unless you want people to believe that his body is in the casket? You would need to cremate the body, because when trials go awry, when expert testimony like the medical examiner who was hired a year before wrote the autopsy and medical report for this specific, murder, Charlie Kirk, now no longer works as the medical examiner in Utah, in Salt Lake City. If anything comes up that makes that report look, flawed or wrong, or, like it was, I don't know, fabricated, like it wasn't actually the truth, they would exhume the body. They would exhume the body. And you could not risk the defense getting their own expert medical examiner to do a second thorough, authentic, genuine autopsy of Charlie Kirk's body. Because even what we end up hearing today from Candace, to me, points to the exploding mic, not to a bullet, his other injuries. And also, remember, some people said that the blood that came out of Charlie's neck was his carotid. Well, the autopsy says no, that it was his jugular. And that's what John Bray said. And a lot of experts say it was the jugular, because then it pours out of the brain. And that's why it's dark like that. And it's thick like that, the consistency like that. It's not coming from the heart. That's why it's not spurting. That the carotid wasn't severed, but the jugular was. Okay. And then there's more that I'll get into, because there's also another piece of information that came out during the defense's time. Catherine Nestor references the autopsy and says that the autopsy should not be released because there is sensitive medical history information in there that might, I don't know, that is private to Charlie. And I speculated, this is pure speculation, that what if he had some sort of procedure at some point? What if he had some sort of issue with his heart, some issue with something inside, he had some sort of procedure that we didn't know about that's in his medical history. And he either has hardware or some sort of tech inside that could have either at the time been, implanted with a device, or that when the exploding mic went off, affected the device. Because remember, Rob O'Neill says, who's a Navy SEAL Team 6, that he doesn't even think the neck wound is an entry wound at all. I don't know where he thinks the entry wound is, but he says, based on the characteristics of that wound, how it behaves, he's positive it's an exit wound. Well, that could either be because Charlie might have already had something inside of him that was affected by the massive explosion, right, that occurred on his body, and then it came out of his neck, right, a man-made object of some sort of hardware or something prosthetic inside due to a pre-existing condition that we don't know about. Or it could have been a piece of the mic that went in and then came out. Or it is John Bray's theory that when the mic explodes, it separates, it comes across, the circuit board comes off, lifts up the shirt, and then the battery goes in, plugs the wound, and then you see this object, smaller than this, but it's like a rectangle, it's not a square, come out of Charlie's neck, and it has right angles on it. So, yeah. Let me see what she says right here.
You don't just opt to move dead bodies between funeral homes. You don't
I
go,
agree.
oh, well, we put it in this funeral home. Now we're going to move to another funeral home,
agree.
especially if you're choosing to bury someone for religious reasons.
I agree.
Are we allowed to have common sense and say that that's like, yeah, no, that doesn't, something occurred. So here's what happened. We received a tip, and this tip has checked out in a major way. And I'm going to be clear here on what is being alleged and what is not alleged, because some parts I am not alleging. I am telling you this is what took place. So regarding Hansen, the person alleged with proof that I deem to be credible, that the reason that Charlie was brought to Hansen and was ultimately moved was because the company refused to take part in a quote unquote mock burial. Okay. A mock burial. So that you understand why I find this information credible. It's because I read through text messages that were sent to this effect from the people that would have knowledge of this. So I'm going to explain what that is, and or rather what is meant by that term mock burial in this particular scenario. So there's no confusion. It's considered mock because the deceased is not ultimately going to be buried. Okay. So you can request to have a mock burial either before or after a person is cremated, almost as a celebration. We'd like to have this person
like
in
a
a
ceremony.
casket, have a celebration, have a funeral, but this casket is not going to be put into the ground. Actually, we're going to cremate him. So I am told that Hansen declined to participate in a mock burial. So Turning Point USA then had to shop around. And ultimately, they landed upon the Catholic Church because of Erica's very strong ties to the priest. You'll recall just the church in general. If you watched our Bride of Charlie series, we went about Erica's from that area, her background,
Yep.
her high school that she went to. But regarding the priest, to jog your memory, Erica is apparently so close to this priest, despite the fact that she's not Catholic or a participating Catholic, whatever it is Andrew was saying there. But that priest who winds up performing that Catholic funeral mass, she's so close to him that rather than bringing her family members to Utah after she finds out that her husband is shot, after she finds out that her husband is assassinated, rather than flying her family members out there, she coordinated to bring the priest. We then saw him around her, traveling with her at future events. There was that Turning Point event in October, which featured the vice president at Ole Miss on October 29th. The priest was with her. He traveled with her there as well.
Wait, that's also weird though, too. Like this photo right here. I do not put my hands on another woman's hips. No. Never. I don't reach out to a woman that's not my wife and put my hands on her hips. Tell me what's wrong. He puts his hand on her hips. She puts her fingers through his hair. Both things on his end and on her end, you don't do when it's not your partner. Am I wrong? Have I been living the wrong way? No, I'm not. Because I'm not a swinger, and it looks like these people be swinging. I don't know. These two, I've never seen Charlie hug another woman in any time when he's alive and put his hands on her hips. And I've never seen another woman hug Charlie and put her fingers in his hair. So, bleh.
All of that in retrospect is rather extraordinary because Turning Point still maintains to this day that Charlie was not flirting with Catholicism. This is something that Blake Neff said the other day. A bishop said otherwise. So I talked to Charlie. But Blake Neff said, nope, never. Die hard evangelical. So why a Catholic funeral mass if not for the reason that you have a personal relationship with the priest who will grant you a special request that has been refused by others?
And that's that. It's because she had a special relationship with a priest, a local priest, and their relationship probably goes back a long way. And he would grant her any request. All right. Now we're going to get to Okay, maybe before we do that, actually, let me do this real quick, just so we can knock this guy out of the way real quick.
Okay, see, now the latest thing is Charlie's body holds all the keys to the evidence, and they don't want us to get to Charlie's body.
Wait. Man, I couldn't even, what is it? 18 seconds. 18 seconds is as far as don't worry, we're going to have to listen to more, but do you not know that medical examiners do autopsies and coroners do autopsies after murders because bodies that are murdered do hold a significant amount of evidence as to the mode and method and means of murder? The conclusion we don't know because we didn't have our autopsy done by our medical examiner. This was the appointed one by the FBI, by the administration a year before, and now has gone on to bigger and better things. But yes, Graham, yes, if Charlie's body was still intact, it would hold a significant amount of evidence as to how he died. Yes, it would. And the fact that you act like it wouldn't, once again, brings me back to how freaking stupid you are. Bro.
Turning Point USA goes, we're not telling you where Charlie's buried because people will violate it.
Yeah,
People
they
will. Here's the thing. People will dig up Charlie's body. They will do it. You don't think that they will? Are you that insane to not think that these crazy?
So nobody dug up JFK's body. No one dug up Martin Luther King's body. Teddy Kennedy, other famous people that have been buried. I do agree that Charlie is a significant figure in a very polarizing time, but you could also have it in a cemetery that has, gates and it's locked. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that that's a valid argument that's why they've kept it secret, is because people would dig it up. I just don't think anyone's going to dig up Charlie's body. Like, that's insane.
People who show up in a church to shout down a widow in the middle of the church. You don't think these people would show up to where they knew Charlie Kirk was buried?
Wait, he's saying that so people show up to shout at a widow means they will dig up a body out of the ground. That's the same thing. Showing up and shouting at a widow is the same as committing a crime and going to a cemetery and digging up a dead person 6 feet under, getting a massive casket out of the ground. Do you know how much work it takes to get a casket out of the ground without equipment? You would have to have necessary equipment. It's loud. It's big. No one would be able to take on that task and successfully get it done without people hearing and calling the cops. No one is digging up anybody's body.
Would have to guard that cemetery more than the White House. Like, it would be
but here's the thing.
This guy's so stupid. You would have to guard that cemetery better than the White House. No, you wouldn't, Tweedle Todd.
Candace Owens thinks that her audience is dumb. And unfortunately,
no,
that is true.
You're dumb.
For a lot of it.
I'll prove it.
Where is Charlie Kirk's body? She asked. Why do I get the sense he was quietly cremated?
Because he was.
Can you go to the video, Todd? Now, see, the reason that I bring this up is
Please.
I thought Candace had this already figured out. Perfect. You see, I thought Candace dropped the bombshell that she knew for a fact that Charlie, she calls it burial. It's burial.
Burial.
He had a Catholic burial. Don't take my word for it, though. Let's just listen to what she has to say. I thought she had it figured out. Let's play it.
That Charlie Kirk, there's been a lot of questions about what about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass. and he is buried in a Catholic cemetery.
Does he not know how to spell buried? Right? That it's spelt with a U. And that people have accents depending on where people are from, whether that's like in the South or on the East Coast, and people pronounce words differently depending on that location where they were from and raised and how their family said words growing up. There's actually nothing weird about her saying burial. Okay. It's just how she pronounced it. The fact that they want to nitpick how she says words and attack her as being unintelligent because she says words differently just shows you how low they're willing to go, how little they actually have to, attack Candace, to discredit her, that they have to nitpick childish little things like, you said that wrong. Yeah, you did. Not to mention, all she says is that she had a source that told her he had a Catholic burial, that he had a Catholic mass. That source, I believe, maybe told her at that time, but she wasn't willing to share it. That's the other thing that these idiots don't understand. She's not going to tell everyone everything when she already knows it. She is leading you into your own jail cell. Have you not figured that out yet? So either her source never said where Charlie was buried, number one, or two, remember, no one saw Charlie buried. The people that were there at the service were asked to leave. So nobody actually saw Charlie's casket go in the ground. So nobody knows where Charlie's buried, and she never claimed to know the location of Charlie, his casket, and his body. She only said, and what she had at the time and what she was willing to say at the time was that it was confirmed that Charlie had a Catholic burial, a Catholic mass. These people are so dumb. It's like unreal how dumb people are.
Pause. Hold on. Wait. Now look, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Can you go back to what she just posted on the 24th? I believe that was the 24th at 7:40 at night. Where is Charlie Kirk's body buried? She'd asked her audience.
Yeah.
Why do I get the sense he was quietly cremated? Well, I thought.
Can you guys tell me a question? Is she making a statement right here? No, she's asking a question based on the information that she has. And you guys did this video yesterday, and she released information today, which she had sources that were there, and they said they were asked to leave. They didn't see the casket go in the ground. Nobody knows what happened to the casket after they left. Not to mention, well, she had another source say that it was a mock burial, and that it was denied by other priests and other Catholic cemeteries. But then she reached out to her personal friend, priest person that granted this personal request. You put all this together, and then you put that together with the video that she filmed inside of the casket, where people did recognize that the size of the hands, the color of the hands, the texture of the hands, we don't see Charlie's head. Was Charlie cremated before that video? Or that is Charlie, they wanted you to see the body and then they cremated him so that there would be no questions. No, you saw the body, you saw it in its finished embalmed form, you saw him in the suit. That was done. Then that was the last time the casket was open. Then we shut it and then we put it in the ground. You didn't know at the time that they were asking for a mock burial, that nobody saw the casket get laid into the ground. It was like a magician trick. Look over here. And then you don't see the sleight of hand. That in between what was supposedly the funeral of the casket being laid into the ground, there was a cremation that took place. The destruction and total destruction of some of the most important pieces of evidence that Charlie's body would have contained even a long time after. People exhume bodies long after they've been buried, and they're still able to do a second autopsy and determine that the first was done incorrectly, improperly, or dishonestly. I was talking with my wife in the car And I really do believe as more and more comes out from all that I've seen and heard, that these people are the most evil people. It is the only thing that can account for all of the lies, all of the choices and decisions that they've made from the day Charlie was murdered to today. There's no way you get this. And I do believe that screw you guys telling me, not you guys, I love you guys, people saying that there's no way that this many people could be involved. You just have to pick your poison, pick your pleasure, you have to do enough research on each individual, know their pressure point, know how to threaten them, know how to bribe them, know how to blackmail them to get them to do what you want them to do. Each person's pressure point will be different. But don't get me wrong, most people like these people, have pressure points. Charlie didn't. That's why they had to kill him. He wasn't willing to sell his freedom of speech for money. He wasn't able to be blackmailed by being put in a compromising situation. He wasn't going to take bribes from people. He didn't take kindly to the threats from the donors. Charlie was a man of integrity that based his worldview and his life on Christian principles and ethics. He didn't have a pressure point to push on, but these people do. And all it would take is someone to find out what that pressure point is and then push. And then you can get each person to do a compartmentalized part in this thing without telling each person the entire thing. Need to know compartmentalization, plausible deniability. That can account for as many people being involved as need be. That's my opinion. Let me see if I get to a couple of these that I didn't get to, and then we'll continue. Flow State, thank you for the 200 joules. Thank you for the silver star, Hobie. And Melissa Hubenecki. Melissa. Man, I'm so bad at this. Thank you for the gold coin. Thank you. All right. I also haven't asked this since we've started. Can you guys please do me a favor as we continue? Can you guys just be a doll and hit the like and subscribe, please? Pretty please? Please? All right. Thank you. And one more just came in while I was doing that. And it is from Destroy the Blob. AHM from the Ozarks. Here's a super chat for Jans. I don't speak, I'm not good at this. If I say it super fast, does it work better? Here's a super chat for Jans. Did I do it? I don't think I did it. Thank you for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it. All right, let's continue. Now let's hop over. He just tries to make fun of Candace. He just continues to try to say that she said that she knew where he was buried and then backtracked. And that's not what I already covered that. She said that he had a Catholic burial. That's it. All right, let's go here. Oh, I almost did it. I almost messed up.
Ran into another set of donors in Europe and relayed the same. She was present at the Catholic funeral mass, and she relayed that Charlie was not buried. So these are not rumors. Those parts I am asserting as fact. Are we to believe he's just been kept above ground this whole time? Or that he was cremated? It makes sense that he was cremated. If you were shopping for a mock burial, there'd be no reason, like I said, to move him from one place to the other.
Correct.
And you guys were not shy about Charlie's body. You are being shy because you're hiding something. You guys have just been lying about a lot. I know too much right now. And we're trying to figure out, obviously, as always, when to present certain things. And sometimes I do want to get ahead of myself. But I
exercise patience.
I am sickened by Turning Point USA. I want to put that on record. I am sickened by them.
Same.
And the truth is going to come out
Good.
about everything.
Good.
So, yeah, I know vengeance does not belong to me, but truth belongs to everybody, and everybody can see what this is and feel what this is, and nobody is being convinced by Andrew Kolvet.
Nope.
Late night tweeting mispronounced words, or
Nope.
Blake Neff trying to explain to us that the evidence, what we see with our own eyes, should not be trusted, but we should believe people inside of the courtroom whose own eyes told them something that has never been shared publicly.
Yeah, total lie.
It doesn't make sense that they would say these things. With the screwdriver, what are you talking about? Where is that in the evidence? Doesn't exist.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Officer Bagley, it went off. I don't know what happened to my body cam footage right when I found the screwdriver that Blake's obviously referring to. There's some more footage around the corner or something. It is unbearable waiting. I have to say that it is something that I have to do, and I am continually practicing this exercise of patience, and I've done a good job. But man, the stuff that I know right now, it burns me. It is positively burning me. It's why, we have been running late, because we're debating of when to drop things, but they're making the mistakes right now, and we have to allow them to continue to make these mistakes.
100%.
Anyway, yesterday, as I mentioned to you, I think at the top I said prosecution, then defense. It was, in fact, my producer corrected the prosecution that filed a memorandum. And in that memorandum, they highlighted some injuries that Charlie had in his autopsy that the internet is now going, what? And I can just read to you this portion. And they are saying that the bullet, or at least parts of it, sequentially perforated the anterior left side of Mr. Kirk's neck, strap muscles of the left side of the neck, and the left common carotid and left internal and external jugular veins. So corroded artery. We already knew all of this, but we remember that Andrew Kolvet particularly told us this next part. It obliterated the left side of C27 vertebrae and transected the cervical spinal cord. So he told us it went in this way, just to make this make sense, hit the back, and then went down his vertebrae, right? That's how that artery got obliterated, and then it ricocheted downward. And they're saying, okay, that happened. All right. But he also had other injuries that people have questions about, particularly pertaining to hemorrhages in his lungs, which tend to come from blunt force trauma, and hemorrhages. His heart had hemorrhage, and both of his lungs had hemorrhage. And that's what you're seeing at the bottom there. The medical examiner also observed hemorrhaging around Mr. Kirk's heart, both of his lungs, left and right. And so people are taking...
Right. And it says pulmonary, I think it's apical hemorrhages and hematomas, multiple disruptions of the thyroid, cricoid and tracheal cartilages. The medical examiner also observed hemorrhaging around Mr. Kirk's heart, hemopericardium, both of his lungs, left and right, hemothorax, and in the, oh my gosh, subarachnoid space around the cerebellar or oh my gosh, vermis, and all the Latin, right? It's Latin, right? And the parietal regions of Mr. Kirk's brain. To me, what this points to is not a bullet. And remember, they can't even get, sorry, you guys, I'm not a doctor and I don't read Latin. Hopefully I didn't do so bad. I did my best. I didn't pre-read that. I didn't use ChatGPT to tell me how to pronounce some of those. Anyway, remember, the bullet supposedly came in at a 9-degree angle. All right. Okay. And entered around here on Charlie's left neck. But then it supposedly went up and hit the C2, which is just below the C1. So at the base of the skull, just one down below the C1. So it went in 9 degrees, cut like a 45, went up, hit the C2, took like a straight up, almost reverse, goes straight down all the way through like 6 vertebrae, and then it shatters and lodges like in his chest cavity and like his T1. And I don't think so. There would need to be, okay, if they're willing to blow up Accurate Energetic Systems plant in Tennessee and kill 16 or 18 people there. Okay. The site manager that was working at the time of the contract of those micro shape charge being created, filled, was moved the day before the explosion. And this guy's now just somewhere with money, living without a job. Super weird. If they're willing to kill people and totally obliterate this plant so that there's no trace ever coming back to where they created these shape charges, if they're willing to destroy the crime scene like they did at 9/11, all right, cover up. So first off, get rid of the sod, ship it off, remove 10 inches of soil, ship it off, pay someone in 4 days to come in, put down pavers, cover it up, put plants on top of it, long before they would have ever had time to do any sort of real crime scene investigation. They didn't even test the soil before they shipped it off. No. They didn't even test the sod before they shipped it off. No. They didn't find any explosive material or exploded ABS plastic from the road mic before they shipped it off. No. The SUV was clean. It was returned to the security team in 2 hours. Key pieces of evidence were returned to Erica Kirk. They would have you believe the necklace was returned, a jacket of Charlie's that he wore earlier that day. Maybe, I don't know, pants and shoes. Maybe they returned his phone to him. If Brian Harple cut off the white shirt, where's that? Did they test that? Why isn't that in evidence? Why wasn't that brought up in evidence? You know, then the SUV was cleaned before sent back to the rental company, then detailed, and then auctioned and sold and shipped away before any real investigation and crime scene investigators could get inside of there to determine if there were any pieces of physical evidence that would be, obtained through, looking inside that SUV. So don't tell me that they're not willing to do things to destroy evidence, that they're not willing to do things like cremate the body to ensure, because if this goes all the way up to the president, the vice president, the administration, Department of War, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, it goes all the way to the French government. It goes all the way to Israeli government. They're not going to take a chance on anything. They don't care what it looks like to us. That's clear. They're fine with it looking sus. Shipping the car off, no chain of custody, freaking bullets appearing out of nowhere, the rifle appearing out of nowhere, covering up the crime scene, giving evidence back to the widow. BS autopsy, no burial, doing a video of her in the casket, telling people at the funeral, now it's time to go. You don't get to see us put him in the ground, asking for a mock burial. They're fine with it looking so sus as long as we don't have anything to prove that our suspicions are correct. And that's what I'm afraid of. That we will know, like we know about JFK. We know just enough. There's just enough circumstantial evidence and some physical evidence that points to a grander and greater conspiracy than the official stupid patsy story sold to us, whether that be JFK or Teddy. We know who didn't kill those men. And I think we're going to know who didn't kill Charlie Kirk, but we'll never. All of the smoking guns, so to speak, have already been disposed of and destroyed. And they don't care if we are pointing at the exact thing that they know is true, as long as we never come upon the physical evidence that proves it. And we could never come upon that evidence if it's already been destroyed. I don't mean to be negative. But when things like this are decided in back dealing rooms with secret handshakes, secret nods, these people all are part of secret groups that we don't know about. They all can work together in a concerted effort to pull this off. Enough people working together, and then enough people blackmailed, threatened, bribed, can pull off a very, very big conspiracy. Look at 9/11. Look at JFK. Look at MLK and Teddy. Look at them. There's perfect examples of a big conspiracy with lots of people involved. Pearl Harbor, the Gulf of Tonkin, Vietnam War. Come on. USS Liberty. It's like we do know the truth, but they've never admitted it. We have evidence to point to it, to the truth, but they don't admit it. And all the people that have taken part in and were guilty of, contributing to those events don't get prosecuted. Look at Jeffy Epi. I don't think I'm being negative and pessimistic. I think I'm being realistic, and it just sucks, man. I said it long ago that I will be so freaking pissed if we make it to September 10th, 2026, and Tyler Robinson's still on trial. He's still in jail. We don't have any actual new, real, evidence that would force the hand of the authorities to arrest, question, interrogate, put charges against any of these people. I said I'm going to be pissed, and it's just like, holy smokes, it's almost August. My birthday's August 5th. September 10th is right around the corner. And then these same jerks are going to hold vigils. They're going to hold events. You know that they're going to do another event of a century, whether that's on the actual September 10th day. Remember, Erica said when asked about the, let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Let me see. Can somebody send me, if you can find it? It's when she's talking on Fox and Friends, I think. Yeah, I think here it is. Hopefully, hold on. I'm going to have to fast forward it to the part where she says it. Let's see. Wait, is this one it? I think this is it. Hold on. We'll see.
Who I need to be as a leader in order to lead. I can't just keep following down this path and expect to be able to make a difference with the youth.
Eric, I cannot imagine what you're going through. You found the love of your life. And that
it was literally going to my mom's house for dinner with my mom.
Hold on.
What really just hits me hard is when I'm in the grocery store and
Okay. I'm trying to find the one where she's like, can I have one thing? Can me and my kids have one thing? When she's asked about where Charlie Kirk is buried. And then she goes into saying, we are making this memorial, this museum, And it is going to be so amazing and tasteful and blah, 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 blah. If someone can find that, I think it's either with the chick. I don't know what her name is. She's the black girl and she's got red on. I don't think it's this one. I don't know. I don't want to keep making you guys watch Erica when I don't remember which one it is. It's one of those. It's either this one or it's the other one where the lady was wearing red. And she's like, can I just have one thing? Can we just have one thing? And then she starts talking about the museum memorial that she's building for Charlie somewhere that they're probably going to charge an admittance, like an entry fee for you to come and stare at the statue of Charlie Kirk and pay your respects. Because she said, we're not telling you where he's buried for people that cared and followed and loved and respected Charlie, where people can go themselves and pay the respects to Charlie. They're going to build a place where everyone will be forced to go if they want to pay the respects to Charlie. A place that they determined, that they designed and built, that they could charge an entry fee for. If someone can find me that video so I can play it. Unk alert. Thank you, Stephanie. Here we go. We got Always Be True. Hey, we're almost twins. My birthday is August 4th. I'll be 41. I'm 41. 8/5/1985. That's a pretty cool birthday, right? So you are 8/4/1985. We are almost twins. Were you born in Tulsa, Oklahoma? You know, they separate people at birth. Twins. I'm just kidding. They have done that. Like twins that get like separated and then they find each other later and they're like, oh my gosh, you look like me. Yes, I'll be 41 as well. And yes, they don't care about how sloppy their cover-up is, but still don't want to be exposed or called out. Devil hates it. Yeah, I agree. I think they know, though. I think what makes them so brazen and blatant and obvious is that they've been assured that they won't be prosecuted, because if one of them gets prosecuted and they sing like a canary, they're going to beg for immunity to sell off everyone. So when that many people are implicated in a crime like this, they will make sure nobody goes down. I mean, just look at Fauci. You know, he was pardoned by Biden. He gets up on the stand this week and I plead the fifth. What color's your tie? I plead the fifth. Can you tell me what color the carpet is? I plead the fifth. Do you know where you are? I plead the fifth. Ugh. Oh, it's Faulkner on Fox. All right, let's see. Let me go back. Okay, that's the only one that keeps coming up. It's the same one. Is that the one that I had? That's the same one I just had, though. It says Fox and Friends. Erica Kirk addresses conspiracy about Charlie's death. I want justice. This is a short. I don't know. She's wearing red. Oh, Harris Faulkner. This is the tipping point. All right, let me see. Let me see if I could just go. Let's see. The New York Post is giving me a clip of it. That's not the real one. That's Fox News. That's not it. Okay, this might be it. Silence conspiracy about Charlie's death. Yeah, here it is.
Back.
All right. Here we go. I know it's not up. I'm pulling it up. I'm going to have to find the spot where it happens, though. So let's see where they play it. Right. All right.
Now, for the first time, Erica, who's with me now, addresses all of it from the perspective of a grieving widow, a mom, and a battle-tested American.
Oh, my gosh.
Good to see you again today. Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing?
Bro, they came out the gates so hot. Holy smokes. She's like, that's what we got to do, you guys. We can't have this in the middle. We can't have this at the end. I need to address this right out the gate. You're going to ask me a question, and my first words are going to be, can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can me and my kids have one thing? You came out too heavy. You came out too hot. It's clearly obvious. This is all scripted, dude. Dude, it's so obvious.
Can my children have one thing?
Oh my gosh, you're so bad.
Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA.
That's the segue of where your husband's buried. We will be building the most beautiful memorial.
And it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular. And it will have basically museum style for our Charlie. For my Charlie.
She catches herself for our Charlie. He's not yours? Oh, no, my Charlie.
But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing.
Well, keep saying it.
This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left.
How many times did you say that? Like freaking 20 times? 20 times you said one thing? Okay, PSYOP Sandy. Holy smokes. When was this filmed? December 10th? Man, that's a really fast turnaround for you to be talking about your dead husband being buried, not being buried, and you're not choked up about it at all. Like I said, when we say words, our brain makes pictures. Okay. It just does. Okay. She should be remembering the casket scene where she's like crying over him saying, bless you. Bless you. She's like a beggar from like the, Robin Hood, alms for the poor, alms for the poor. And they give you alms. Bless you. Bless you. Oh my gosh. Nobody says bless you to your wife or husband. I've never said bless you. Okay, sneeze. Just kidding. All right. When someone sneezes, yes, you say bless you. That's the only time you say it to your wife or husband. There's no other context where I'm like loving my wife or like praying for her and I'm just like, and bless you. Bless you. What? I'm just saying, dude, that's just not real. Like nobody says that. Okay. You say that like to a stranger, like, bless you. Bless you. You say it when someone sneezes, like, oh, God bless you. You don't say it on your dead husband's body in the casket crying on his hands. You just don't. It's weird. It's like removed. There's no intimacy. There's no relationship there when you're saying bless you. Freaking A. And she's going into now saying that, yeah. So my point in bringing up the casket scene was not about that, but sorry, it's just how my brain works. She cannot talk about him being buried without picturing that scene of her in the casket. She can't talk about where he's buried without knowing where he's buried. This is just September to October, November, December, 3 months after. She's not crying at all when talking about Charlie being buried. In fact, spectacular. The memorial. Don't focus on the burial. We've built a spectacular, stupendous extravaganza where you can pay to come see the statue. We'll even let you take pictures under the tent. You can hold the mic. It's in a box. They did this like with the saints and stuff like that back in the day, right? With like relics and things like that. That's what they're doing with Charlie. They're toting things around for people to take pictures and videos underneath the tent he was murdered in, or an exact replica. But they actually have the real mic that he was holding when he was murdered in a freaking glass box at Mar-a-Lago. It's brought out at different donor events so they can take pictures in front of it, point to it and go, yeah, that's his mic. Pretty cool. Most people that don't give me $1 million never get to see it, but you do at the slim price of $1 million. Dude, she's like Dr. Evil. All she needs is a hairless cat that she can just stroke and be like, meh, meh. She's freaking evil. Oh my gosh. Let's go back to it. Spectacular museum.
That is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents.
Babies.
One thing.
One thing. Oh, she said it again.
What are they taking from you right now?
Everything.
Nothing.
Oh, nothing. Okay.
But I will tell you what they are doing.
Just one thing.
It reminds me so much of chapter 6.
Oh,
in the book.
shut up. Shut up, Erica. Please stop talking about the Bible. We don't want to hear it. We just don't. All right, let me see what I'm going to go do next. Hold on. What is this one? This one is, yeah, we'll go here. All right. Sorry. Grown Graham, baby child, Phil and Dill. Oh, man. I think he got the message. He must have seen our tweet of his photo with Phil or Dill. I forget who he chose on the shoulder. He's been wearing hats lately, ladies and gentlemen. He's hiding his little faux hawk that he's got going on. His little patch of hair right there that he just, you know, it kind of reminds me of like Pee Wee Herman has it in the back, but he's got it in the front. Yeah. Him and Andrew are going through some sort of midlife crisis. You know, we got to cover up the fact that we're in our 40s and our hair is thinning. You could just accept reality and shave it, but then we'd see your ugly mug. You know, it'd be there for all to see. This one.
Can we all agree at this point that we are beyond just asking questions? Just
No.
comment yes or no in the
No.
comment section there.
No.
My point today is not to prove whether or not that person that you can very clearly see get down into the prone. You can clearly see, as Candace says in her episode, I can't tell if it's flopping around or if it's a rifle or not. You can clearly see that person throwing something down, getting into a prone that appears to be a rifle or a very stiff blanket.
Thank you. It does appear to be a stiff blanket. Military guys would know what that's like. In boot camp, so in MCT, I stayed in like Kwanzaa huts. But in boot camp, when you go up, so if you're, West Coast, there's two different boot camps in the Marine Corps. You have Parris Island and San Diego. Well, in San Diego, there's 3 phases. You do a month down in San Diego at Marine Corps Recruit Depot. It's like right next to the airport. It's so cool, especially because I grew up there. It was like being in my backyard. Also, too, the second phase, you go up to Camp Pendleton. That was also my backyard. I literally used to get on the base all the time to go surfing at Del Mar Jetties, which is the beach access. There's like a civilian area where they have like cabanas and things you can rent, and it's beautiful. It's also one of the best surf spots in Southern California. It's a beach break. There's no reef, but it's a sandbar because there's like a jetty, and then it like pushes the sand up and it creates a sandbar. And it's a massive wave when you get the beautiful southwest swells during the summer. It's insane. So it's 2 phases, right? Or 3 phases. First phase, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Then you come up to Camp Pendleton for the second phase. That's where you learn how to do navigation. You're hiking a lot. You're shooting. That's where your rifle qual is. You do the crucible up there. And then you come back down for third phase. By the time you get to third phase, you pretty much have done, because on the crucible, you hike to the top. It's on the last day. You do a 55-mile hike, and then you hike this massive freaking mountain, and you're already exhausted. You've been eating MREs for weeks, and you get to this mountain, And I was the guide. So I had to hike the whole time with my guide on, and you have like 100 pounds on your back. And you could literally crawl up the mountain. It was that steep. You just like reach out and touch it. It's like right there. It's like right in front of you. And when you get to the top, you get your Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. You get pinned, your EGA. That's like when you actually become a Marine. All right. Yes, you still have a month left, but what's left is, you're taking exams, you're doing your, medical tests and different, passing your field, like when they teach you how to do combat medicine and things like that. And then you do like your final, for me, that's when I did my board, when I went on the meritorious board and I competed against the other, guides, platoon leaders. Sorry, this is a long time ago. And then you do your platoon like marches, and you compete against the other platoons to see who drills better. We won, by the way. Our platoon won everything. It was dope. Staff Sergeant Dorsey was the man. Hold on, let me see. Let me show you guys. Hopefully the light will show it. All right, let's see. All right, so I don't want it to glare. Hold on. So Staff Sergeant Dorsey's in the middle. All right. And then we had our drill hat. Forget his name. I'd have to look at the picture. And then our kill hat. And then I'm holding the guide on. Okay. 3065 Lima Company. But when you come back, you're pretty much done. So let's see. It's Staff Sergeant Dorsey, Sergeant Smith, and Sergeant Rogers. Sergeant Smith was the drill hat, and then Sergeant Rogers was this little guy. He was the kill hat. Oh my gosh, it was gnarly. Hold on, let me put it back. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Man, that was a long tangent. I don't know what I was talking about. I need to not do that. But it was talking about the Marine Corps because of something Graham was saying. What was he saying? Let me play him. It'll refresh my memory, and then I'll regather my thoughts.
My position today is, how can you continue to believe anything Candace Owens says? Because according to her, she's had this video since October. Candace Owens and her are not journalists, just like we're not journalists.
Wait, maybe one of you can help me. What was I starting? Oh, the thick blanket. Thank you. I love you, Dulcinea. Oh my gosh, you guys are so freaking good. Holy smokes. Love you guys. Yes. All right. So when I was in second phase, we're sleeping outside, and you sleep in these tents, but they're not, it's just like a really thick old school tarp kind of thing. And it's on these poles, and it's like the old school tent that you would see in a Disney movie or in a cartoon or something, right? It's like a green, really thick blanket. It's really stiff. And it's just like this, but it's folded when you fold it up, right? It's folded up and folded up. But when you're unfolding it and you boop, it just does that. It's so thick and stiff, right? It just bloop. And I agree with him that it is like a very stiff tarp or military blanket. It's what it looks like to me.
Are an opinion show. This is our opinion, but I would argue that Candace and all of them are entertainers. That's what they are. They're entertainers. And the cool thing about entertainers is you don't necessarily have to be a good human being to be a good entertainer. In fact, Hollywood is riddled with some of the worst human beings on the planet, but their talent behind the camera cannot be ignored. In fact, I would argue that some of the best actors on the planet are some of the weirdest and worst humans on the planet.
What a bad analogy, right? I agree that a lot of actors are not good people. Candace Owens is not an actress. Erica Kirk, on the other hand, was an actress. Literally. And her uncle that worked in Paramount was trying to get her into Hollywood. She even said when she lived in LA and she was trying to make it in that scene. People that are really into themselves. I also agree that Candace Owens has more talent in her pinky toe than any of these people have in their entire body. Jeremy freaking Boring, Ben freaking Shapiro, Seth freaking Dillon, you know, all of them. Graham Allen, Gary Paramount Tactical, Lisa Knows. Oh, which, by the way, let me see if I can find this. Hold on. You guys want to laugh? Let me pull up. Okay, so Honest Ash is coming on tomorrow as well. She is a good friend of like Mitch, and I've gotten to know her better over the last few months. How far down did you put it? Where is it, Honest Ash? Am I not on your page? It should be at like the top of your page. Hold on, maybe I'm not on your page. There we go. All right, we're on your page. Now let's scroll. You're so funny. Some of these things I haven't even noticed. Holy smokes. Hold up. Where did you put it? Ash, where is Lisa? Where is she? I might just have to Google. Oh my gosh. Have you been posting all day? No, that's like a long time ago. Hold on. No, I hate it when you do this. You like type something in and it doesn't come up. All right, maybe. Wait. I think you sent it to me. Hold on. Let me see if I could send it to myself. All right, hold on. Okay, sweetie. Good night. I love you. Let's see. Who sent this to me? What's this one? Is this brand new? Let me send this to myself. Crystal, is the thing you sent me brand new? Crystal Small N. I'm going to send that to me. I'm going to pull it up. Hold on. But I actually want to pull up this other thing first. Come on. Oh, I don't have Facebook. I'm not going to be able to see that, Crystal. Ash, where are you? You're in here. No, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, you didn't send it to me? You just sent me a photo of her crying. Man, I need the... Okay, Crystal, I know you're on X a lot. If you can find me the video that somebody, I think it's Honest Ash posted it today, or whoever posted it, of Lisa Knows performing a country music song. So clearly a lot of these people who are, you know, touted out in front of us as just normal people, a lot of them had aspirations to like make it in Hollywood, in the movie industry, or in the music industry, and they sucked. So they're like, fine, I guess I'll just shill for TPUSA. Fine. Everyone can see through me. I'll just do this. All right, let's go back to this whack-a-mole.
All right, Todd, let's go to some of the stuff that she brought into yesterday. Let's go there because I want to show some of it and I want to show some of the things and go ahead and disprove some things. Like we're disproving the thing of like, oh, he gave some kind of signal kind of stuff.
No one said
Well,
that.
she started off with Andrew. Like, do you
yeah.
want to
Yes. Let's do that first. Okay. Again, let's just play this or go to this, whatever it is. All right, let's play this with Andrew.
I'm sorry that we are running late, but I promise you it is going to be worth the wait. First and foremost, I always just have to shout out Andrew Kolvet because he has got me out here.
Did that guy really just do that hand motion on here? You saw that, right? This Christian dude just did that on camera and has the audacity to say anything about any of us as not being real Christians. That's disgusting, dude. You would never, ever see Charlie do that. You'll never see me do that. Ever. Freaking Tiny Todd over here. You know? Oh my gosh, these people, dude. They can't even hold it together. Their grift as Christians can't even be held together when they're on the air. They just slip up for who they really are. Gross, disgusting people that have disdain for all of us.
Looking like the old woman from the movie The Princess Bride. You guys remember her? Liar!
That's what your soul looks like. Yes.
Liar! Andrew Kolvet, why must we do these things? Why do you tell these massive lies? Because I was also able to confirm with a White House employee that there certainly was a White House meeting on the books for Andrew Kolvet, the chief marketing officer, Marina Minez. Also, I have learned, and this is quite unusual because he does not often travel, Chief Operating Officer Justin Strife was scheduled to be there, and their in-house legal counsel, Frank. Ladies and gentlemen, why does Andrew lie so easily? Why was it necessary to lie in the first place?
All right, hold
on. Andrew, the CMO.
I fast forwarded because we saw her show yesterday. I'm not going to let them sit there and make faces at her while she does her show.
For Turning Point USA, the COO and their legal counsel were scheduled to be in D.C. this week. Okay. She says that she confirmed it with a White House employee. Who?
The janitor.
Again,
the janitor.
To put it to the same scrutiny that her and her minions put with us, where's the evidence? Prove it. Who said that? Because here's what I know. And again, you can put the same thing on me. Prove it, Graham. That's the point. She can't.
Oh, you can, though, because you work for the Department of War. You are their rapid response, whatever your title was. It probably came from you. You probably were there. Go ahead.
She can't prove it.
Okay.
She can't prove anything. Because if she could prove it, she would. Oh, she's just baiting them, Graham. No, she's not. She's waiting on Andrew to get upset. And then maybe Andrew says something he shouldn't say. And then she'll have another episode. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's a bait. It's a bait to try to get anything. Because, see, it's so simple for me to say, I had a phone call with the president yesterday.
You did?
Prove that I didn't.
Oh, okay. You can't prove a negative. All right. Well, enough of this guy. He just is going to make fun of Candace and not bring anything out. Okay. So Benny Johnson had this. This is how we know this guy's so bad at what he does, right? It says new high definition footage of Charlie Kirk's assassin before shooting released. That's this. This is supposedly high definition, ladies and gentlemen. This is high def. Did you see a gun, by the way? Do you see a gun? Let's see. Do you see a gun? Hold on. Let's go right here.
Close.
No gun.
Right there. You see that?
No gun.
That's it. That's just a little blurb.
Yeah, why are you saying it's high definition, though, Benny? Are these high def? Are these ones high def? No. Remember, you said you can't even tell who this is, if it's a dude or a chick.
Pixelated image of a white male.
Very heavily pixelated image of a white male. I agree. Why is your title that it's high def? Are these ones high def? I mean, I get these are a little bit clearer.
You can see
a limper. He's a limper. Oh, you broke the case.
Could this be because the rifle?
Could it be? No, it could be because he's limping, so you could make that statement. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? None of these are high def. You get Eagle Boy. This is why I call him Eagle Boy right here. His shirt. That's why I call him Eagle Boy. Because it's not Tyler Robinson, right? This is not. You don't know who this is. Nobody knows who this is. It's not. I know who it's not. It's not Tyler Robinson. Anyways, the reason why I played this is because his lying started a long time ago. New high definition footage of Charlie Kirk's assassin before shooting release. What a freaking liar. Oh, this guy. Let's see. All right, I want to go back here because this was so fascinating from yesterday to see how deep of the grift goes. Yeah, pretty nuts. Ready?
Barron, who was a huge fan of Charlie's, and he phoned the president. He was very distressed, very distraught, and the president was trying to absorb this news, but also trying to comfort his son. And people who were in the West Wing that day describe it almost like it was just a zombie land, in the sense that people were just in a state of shock. Charlie Kirk was considered a member of the family by many of these people. And we just described, again.
Right. That's why Trump is like, yeah, Charlie Kirk's dead. Yeah. Okay. The ballroom. I don't want to belabor it too much with you, but, we have an insight in the book into how they regathered themselves at that moment, got together. Of course, they still didn't know who had done this or any of the details. Well, that's not true. Trump went on Fox and Friends like the next day and was like, we have it, a high degree of certainty by the 12th.
Vice President was in a state of acute distress.
Sure.
JD Vance credits Charlie Kirk more than anyone with his...
Dude needs to put on his AC. His upper lip is sweating.
Political career. I mean, I think it's an objective fact that without Charlie Kirk, JD Vance would not be United States Senator.
I agree.
He would not be Vice President of the United States.
I agree.
Charlie Kirk was the one who vouched for JD Vance to the Trump family initially, when they were very skeptical about someone who had a history as a never Trumper, who had said all sorts of things about Donald Trump. In early 2021, Charlie Kirk was, I would say, of all the people, him and Don Jr., but really it was Charlie Kirk vouching for JD Vance that established him within that circle. And then, of course, he had a huge role in helping him become vice president. So we describe in the book the emotions that the vice president was going through, but also the decision he made very quickly to take Air Force Two to collect Charlie's casket, to comfort his family, to comfort Erica, and that whole sequence of events, which of course you're very intimately familiar with, Andrew.
I can tell you, he comforted all of us. I was on that flight as well, and he came back. I mean, he sat up with Erica and Usha, but he came back and he talked to us too, and you could tell he was in a bad way, like we all were, but he put on a brave face. And
so when he flew to Utah to pick up Erica, and Charlie's parents were on the flight, I think, at that time too, because later they say that parents were on the flight. Andrew's on the flight. Mikey McCoy's on the flight. Jeez Louise. I think Frank Turk's on the flight, right? Because that's why they had to get them all clothes, nice clothes, because they were going to, be on camera and like be on Air Force Two.
Put his hand on our shoulders, and I'll never forget it.
It's okay.
I'll never forget it.
It's okay.
On the topic of JD, there's been a lot made of these scenes in your book from inside the Situation Room. There's a scene with Benjamin Netanyahu pitching some of the intel leading up to the Iran war. You see JD's posture as being pretty skeptical. And
they have to sell this. Okay. So it's like the whole thing with Kamala being vice when all of these horrible decisions are being made with the auto pen, because, Biden's like, man, where am I? She's like, when she starts running, right? People are asking her like, well, you're promising to do all these things when you're president. You're vice president right now. Like, why can't you do any of these things right now? I'm just vice president. Well, they're doing the same thing with JD, and so this book is a means to try to say that JD was never for the war. That's why he came out, was all anti-Israel on the Joe Rogan podcast and anti-war. He's a peacemaker. He's just trying to make peace with everyone. That's why I just want to make peace. I just want no more war. No more. Trump wants the wars. He doesn't have to run again. I do. War president, peace president. Yeah, okay. That was his running slogan too. No more wars. Bro. It's like Vietnam is going to be like, yeah, elect me. I'll put an end to the war. Put an end to it. Day one, over. Gets in 10 more years. So this guy comes in to help with his public image, and he's there when this whole thing's going down with Bibi Netanyahu, and JD's just like, no, don't listen to Bibi. No regime change. No, I'm against the war. Get out of here, bro. Palantir, get out of here. Freaking liar.
Would say that there was a lot of members that were pretty skeptical. I would say, I guess my question is separate fact from fiction. When it comes to the admin's reception of that intel, the players, I mean, how skeptical were they? And why, if in your estimation, why was the decision to go in the second strikes made by the president?
Well, it's nuanced, right? Even the skepticism from the U.S. intelligence, just to take a backward step, in the book we describe Netanyahu, this pretty astonishing meeting where he comes to the White House Situation Room and essentially pitches President Trump on his plan for a regime change war with Iran.
So that is very important. I played the clips of Charlie. Okay. Andrew Kolvet was there. So is Blake. So is Tyler. So is Jack. It was on Thought Crime, and they did other shows on the Charlie Kirk show about this. Charlie Kirk was promised by Trump and the administration, no regime change, period. The whole pretext for going in the summer of 25 is just to destroy their nuclear capabilities, because that's the whole reason that we're going, is we're afraid that they have ballistic missile capabilities. Now they're on their way to making a nuke warhead to put on the top. They can bomb us. We got to go in, destroy their nuclear facilities, threat, disabled. Him and all of his, henchmen around him at the time, they were always snaking the grass. We're echoing what Charlie was saying at the time. We should be very worried if Trump, after this limited strike on the nuclear sites, if he comes back later and goes, we need to go back. We need to go back. We need to do regime change. He goes, if they try to pull regime change, that's not. And he says, we should not get involved in regime change in Iran, period. And we know right here, that's what Bibi was wanting. So Trump and JD can't say that that's not one of the reasons why they went back. They tried to say that before Charlie was killed. After Charlie was killed, no, we're going to go take out the Ayatollah, regime change. Charlie being around for that, whoa. He wouldn't just be abandoning the pro-Israel cause. He would be one of its major opponents. He'd be fighting against it. He'd be like, holy smokes, what do they have on Trump and JD? JD and Trump promised me no regime change. They did the strikes. Here we are. Regime change. What is going on? Dude, I mean, you can't not see the writing on the wall that they had to take Charlie out in their mind, in their evil, conniving, scheming ways so they could get the war. Now, obviously, what also was always planned was merging our militaries. This wasn't concocted overnight. These things are discussed and in between each other's administrations, late night phone calls, meetings. Bibi's been out 8 times. With Charlie Kirk around, with all this happening after September 10th, bro, they would have lost all of the base. They sadly have some. I don't know how many. I don't know how many are bots and are paid people paid to go to their events, paid to go on their videos, which they have less views than me, and I'm not big. Charlie was massive, 8-point-something million on the, each different platform. They had multiple million followers. They're using those accounts still to broadcast their shows from. 1,000 views, 1,000 views. Nobody watches Jack. He's got 600 views from his video today. The biggest views they had was when they were covering the prelim, because people knew that they had people on the inside. And they knew that, like, you know, Blake was there, and that Blake and Andrew said they're going to cover it all week, and they have contact with Erica. So they're maybe like, oh, Erica's going to tell them inside information, or Brandon Tatum and Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson are going to give inside information. That's the biggest ratings they've had since directly after Charlie's death, when they were doing all the memorials and all of Erica's appearances. That's the biggest views they've had, and that's it. Everything else, when they're by themselves, nobody watches them. I have 30,000 subscribers and more views than them. They have millions and millions of subscribers. They have lost the public. Can you imagine what the public would have done if Charlie was around and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, were still watching him, and he completely abandoned and started fighting against all of them? The fallout would have been bad, catastrophic, detrimental, unrecoverable. No JD in 2028. You want to know how they could get JD to go along with this? You want to know how they could get JD to go along with this? Palantir and all them and the people behind them need JD to be able to run and steal or buy the election in 28. Okay, whether they're going to put in Newsom temporarily, because it really doesn't matter. I don't know if you guys saw the video that Julian Dory did. He showed an image of the United States during Biden with flock cameras, and like it's little blue dots. And that's how many were there. There was just like a couple pinpricks. And then Trump gets in. And then it's just like an infestation. And it's just like the whole country just goes blue. They're everywhere. Because under Democratic administrations, they pass certain laws. Under Republican administrations, they pass certain laws and legislation. Because they're all both moving the whole country into one direction, which is totalitarian control. A total police state, but they have to like ebb and flow when, you know, they have a majority in the Senate. When they don't, when they have their candidate in the administration and they don't, they just, you know, volley back and forth. The uniparty that's behind them both is still pushing us all into the direction that they want us to go. And Charlie, being a free man, being an honest person, with all of his social medias at his disposal, with all this going down, would have ruined that considerably. You couple that with Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, you know, Megyn Kelly, even though she bats on both sides here and there, but she still sometimes, right? And so Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Dave Smith, Megyn Kelly. You add Charlie Kirk to that, it's over for them. It's over. They had to take him out. And I don't agree with that. I'm telling you how these evil people think. They're not going to let anyone or anything stand in their way.
And he's got, you know, on the screen behind him, he's got the head of Mossad, Israeli generals. And
really?
He lays out scenarios, including the Kurds coming across, helping to overthrow the regime, and a video montage which has potential replacement leaders in Iran, including Reza Pahlavi, who's the son of the last Shah. So they absorb all of this, and overnight the CIA does an analysis on it. And the skepticism was in a very I wouldn't say narrow, because it's pretty darn important, but it wasn't like they said, oh, we can't achieve any of these objectives. We can't degrade or dismantle the ballistic missiles. We can't do anything to suppress Iran's defense industrial base. The really hardcore skepticism concerned the regime change scenarios. And I'll tell you, everyone on the Trump team basically was skeptical about this. Vance happened to be the one who vocalized that most aggressively with Trump, but others did too at different times, and particularly that intelligence, Ratcliffe and Rubio expressed skepticism to President Trump about it.
Oh, yeah, right.
People debate about how and why we went to war, but every piece of reporting I've done and everyone I've talked to in the inner circle, and I think Trump has made this clear in different ways, maybe less bluntly publicly, is that he had a feeling, he had a gut feeling that this Iranian regime would collapse quickly. And even if it wasn't going to end up in regime change, he thought it would. He thought it was worthwhile going ahead with this mission, even with the more limited objectives.
All right. You guys want to laugh a little? Let's go. Let's go here. Let's laugh a little, and then we'll watch some Charlie Kirk before we end.
Upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Wow. All right, let me tell you who David Schertler is for the audience, because he was ejected by the chairman. He's a high-profile criminal attorney. He's represented some really great people, like Senator Bob Menendez. Maybe that's somebody who my Democrat colleagues may remember took gold bars as bribes from the Egyptians. And there's an article here in the Washington Free Beacon that talks about why you would hire a guy like David Schertler. And the comment is, if you're in deep shit, that's who you call. Do you feel like you're in deep shit?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Clearly.
Yeah, let me read that. He's not going to go to jail because Biden pardoned him, ladies and gentlemen. This is just to show how corrupt it all is. You know, him getting up there and pleading the fifth to ridiculous, obviously questions that he knows just shows they will protect each other. And if it's a uniparty, okay, which it is, remember, Trump in 2015 running for president says crooked Hillary, you know, Bill is blah, blah, blah. How corrupt they are, evil they are, disgusting they are. Then when the Jeffy Epi thing's coming out, he's like, a lot of my friends are in there. This is going to hurt a lot of good people. Bill is my friend. Hillary is a good person. I like them. I've given them money. Trump said that. Yeah, after he said, Jeffy Epi who? Are we still talking about this dude? Oh, it's a hoax. Okay. They're going to do the same thing. If we get close to anything with the Charlie Kirk assassination, Trump will pardon everyone or anyone. Well, you know, it's got to get, it's so sad. I was talking about this today. Like, it seems inevitable that the only way we get it back, like there's no way we get it democratically. Come on, you guys. The system is rigged, so we never get a candidate in there that represents us. When we do get candidates in, you know, the House or the Senate that represent us, they get ousted. They get forced out like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They get bought out by Israel like Massey. The system is so corrupt and so rigged, we can't affect change democratically. I'm sorry. It's just a freaking fact. I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm just being honest. When's the last time we've elected someone that's been able to stay in long enough to affect real change that resulted in making the country and our lives better. They won't risk us uniting for a revolution. That's why they're dividing, so that we end up in a civil war first. They would rather us fight each other, divided, pick up the pieces, rule over whoever remains, than ever risk us uniting. And that's why this whole left versus right thing, the whole race thing being stoked as well. They want us to fight each other so that we don't have the ability to fight them. You know? And I don't want there to be a revolutionary war. You know, so many people will be hurt. So many people will be separated from their families. So many people will die and lose their lives. Innocents, women, children, the elderly. The victims would be catastrophic. But do you really think we can vote someone in that's going to represent us? That's what we thought was happening with Trump and JD. Look at what happened. And the person that knew that better than anyone, who would have sounded from the rooftops, he knew too much as well. He was promised way too much to go quietly into the night. They would not leave Charlie alive. Nope. So they're willing to do that. You know, I'm sorry, you guys. It's just, it sucks. It sucks, dude. All right. Let's laugh again. Let's go to here. Hold on. This one's so funny. I love this guy. Josh Haley. Let me back it up from the beginning. Is it on the screen? Nope, that's my face. Hold on. Gotcha.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something.
Everybody laughed.
What day of the week is it today?
Wednesday.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
It's like gray, black.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
I think it's blue.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege.
Woo.
You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich. While people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you?
Yep.
That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID, what were they doing? I tell you what they're doing. Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Volker says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to beef up the COVID part. Do you have language in the can that you could share that delineates how we responded in new ways to COVID? He sends this to multiple federal employees. What was the Dan David Award? Do you remember, Doc?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
It was a $900,000 cash award.
Wow.
$900,000 cash award.
Dude, look at his body language. Holy smokes. He freaking knows it. I don't know that he actually feels remorse or guilt, but he knows he's caught. That's what that face is. He's caught. Busted. But he's got enough rich and powerful people behind him saying, don't worry, this is as bad as it'll get. This is the worst. Go up there, get caught on camera, be publicly humiliated. Everyone will hate you. Your name will be disgraced. You'll be known for this forever. You'll go down in the history books as an evil person that benefited financially off the death of millions of Americans. You're a traitor, but you'll be rich. You'll get to fly to Ibiza. You'll get to go to the Alps or Switzerland, wherever you want to buy your mansion. You get to go. Your yacht will be in Monaco. Don't worry. This is it. After this, you just fly away. So, yeah, I don't think he feels guilt, remorse. I think he's just like, dang, you got me. You got me. You got me. The world knows it too now, buddy.
And he got it.
Look at this.
Because he used federal employees to get it. And this wasn't the only award, was it, Dr. Fauci? In fact, you applied for and received at least 8 other federal cash prizes on federal time using federal employees and federal resources. Here they are over my shoulder. Besides the Dan David Award, you've got the Partnership for Public Service. You've got the Adelson Prize. You've got the Smithsonian Award. You've got the National Academy of Medicine's Award. You've got the CDC Foundation. In fact, you turned your staff into a full-time application machine. You actually wrote to people and said, do you think maybe I'd qualify? And you got cash for all of this.
Dang.
And it wasn't just 1 or 2 employees, was it? In fact, you used 8 separate federal employees on federal time using federal resources to solicit cash awards. Isn't that true?
Plead the fifth.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Here they are right over my shoulder. Here's all of them. The people that you use, federal employees, so that you could go and get cash money. And the most hilarious part is that you weren't content to even dragoon them into applying for all of these cash awards. You then had them go out to the ethics agencies and ethics watchdogs and demand that you be able to get the money.
Watch this. This is where his lawyer gets booted. Hold on.
And let us know whether or not you've changed your mind on whether or not the benefits of gain-of-function research outweigh the risks.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
The chairman has denied your assertion of privilege and directed you to answer, but you nonetheless refuse and stand on privilege despite the
All right,
quietly and don't say another word.
Hold on.
I do that today, but I can have you escorted disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because you would not be recognized.
Oh, okay.
You are not invited.
Hold on, it started.
Recognized. You are not
Hold
recognized.
on. Sorry. I got to see where it started.
You're not recognized. You're
We'll start
not
here.
recognized. If you are,
Oh, my bad. So the carpet is gray. The carpet is gray.
truly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security, we'll hold off, but you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise, his lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
God, these people are the worst.
Let the record state that Dr. Fauci will still have the advice of the other half a dozen attorneys that he brought along today. Senator Peters.
So bad. It's so bad. All right, hold on. I try to find, I don't always play a clip of Charlie because of what he's saying, but just that it's a clip that I haven't played before. Okay. Because we've played so many of his clips, I like finding new ones. So it's not that it's going to go along with anything that we're doing tonight or saying. It's just another clip of Charlie that if you've seen it, awesome. If you haven't seen it, even better. Yeah, but I'm going to play it. But first, let me do this. Mustang, Texas became a member. Thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the team. Noble Mom became a member. Thank you so much. All right. Oops, I didn't unclick that. I do that sometimes. All right. Let me play.
Chris, it's a great honor to be here today. I run a national student activist organization. We're present on over 1,300 college and high school campuses. And I just have to say, you've been doing a great job, Chris, in the NRA. It's been totally amazing to see. And when tragedy struck, the media tried to continue with a singular narrative of gun control. And I think we have a special guest today here, Chris, someone who courageously stood up to the media and fought for our Second Amendment rights as a Parkland student himself. Why don't we call out Kyle Kashuv? Are you here? Let's welcome Kyle Kashuv, who did an unbelievable job, right?
All right, well, I don't want this kid to speak the whole time. Let's go to Charlie. Hold on. Charlie comes back up. Here we go.
Director of High School Outreach at Turning Point USA. So he's going to grow this movement to more and more campuses to fight leftist indoctrination and to fight for the Constitution. They're not teaching the Constitution in our school anymore. They're really not.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Walking through the March for Our Lives, it's a funny story. I just happened to be in D.C. and I was walking down the streets and I saw all this infrastructure being put up and these guardrails and police starting to prepare. I said, what is going on here? Millions of dollars were being spent, and it was for the March for Our Lives. And so I decided to stay an extra night, and I paid a couple of my buddies to follow me around with their cameras. And I said, I'll just go ask some questions. And by the way, they said it was a student movement. Most of the people there were on, AARP members. Okay, they were drawing Social Security. It was not a student movement. And actually, a study showed that less than 10% of the marchers were actually students. And so I started to ask some very simple questions like, what is an assault weapon? What, by the way, which is a made-up term by politicians. Anytime.
Does he look down at a prompter? Does he look down at a tablet? Is he reading off of a piece of paper? Every time Erica has done a speech, she's been reading off something. She can't remember anything. Nothing is from her lived experience. Nothing is from the heart. Nothing is from her head. It's all from someone else that wrote something that she wouldn't even take the time to memorize it, to at least pretend like it was hers. None of the people that have been touted out there as potential replacements or picking up the mic, or people that even just took over, but not as replacements, just took over. Andrew Kolvet, Blake Neff, they all suck. They just suck. And they're horrible. They're just, there's only one Charlie Kirk.
They try to use this term assault weapon. It could be a baseball bat. It could be a knife. Totally made up term. And the ignorance that these people had towards firearms, towards the Constitution, was stunning. And so we made some videos. They went totally viral. But it was really, really important because they say, oh, Charlie, you're just arguing semantics. Language matters when they're talking about taking away our guns.
Yep.
Language matters.
Sure
When
does.
they say assault weapon, assault rifle, sniper rifle. Some lady said, oh, I just want to make sure all the AK-47s are taken away. I said, yeah, we got this on camera. That's going to be a lot of fun. So Kyle's a total superstar. And what he went through, that terrible tragedy, and he courageously addressed the issues at hand and said, I'm not going to allow this singular incident to be hijacked by one perspective. And he went on multiple shows. He debated Pierce Morgan and won, which, by the way, Pierce Morgan deserves it. I'll tell you what, that guy, he's
sucks.
something else. And so
Yep.
Kyle did an amazing, amazing job, and he's going to be doing just an even better job with us running our high school outreach. And so the last...
I wonder if that kid still actually is part of Turning Point. That'd be a great question. That's something to look up. If that kid, Kyle Seraphim, is that what he said his name was? Is still a part of the Turning Point chapters. Project Nexus US became a YouTube member tonight. All right, you guys. If you guys haven't done so already, please do me a favor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel, and I appreciate it. Also, after the video post, can you go, please, just write a comment or just throw in an emoji. It helps it out, and you can hype the video for free. Those are the best ways to help support me for free. Also, in the video description, like the Buy Me a Coffee link is on there, and the Blackline Brief Venmo account is on there as well. And those are alternative ways to donate to the team and to me in this channel. All right. All right, you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for everything. I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Mitch Snow, Matthew Tuzzarone, me, the Blackline Brief, Matthew McKim, and Honest Ash will be here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're not going to want to miss it, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless. Have a great night. Bye.